The House of Reawakening Minds, and to this evening our instructor is Father Hannibal Bey. Let's receive him.
To all Moors across the nation, especially those who are my my golden cipher that been being taught by me personally from 2002 up to date, who's out in the Midwest, Washington, Cali, down south, some upstate New York, some in Pennsylvania, and all you new Moors now. So I guess I gotta say y'all might be the newer ones that's in the golden cycle. So y'all getting stuff that others don't get. I'm going to open the meeting like my father always did when we had roundtable, and we always wanted to keep the element of the temple. And since I am going into the spiritual work, now we'll be reading from the Circle 7 and also from the Holy Quarterback, lit the incense. And again, when we have meetings with some of you already wants to go to temple, so you know this, but I'm saying this for the sake of those who don't know. Lighting an incense, all that does is just heighten the vibration. It adds and heightening the vibration in the room. The secrets that I am giving you, and I'm just so thankful, the stuff that you have now, y'all see the value of it. And I'm just saying I'm thankful for y'all to even appreciate it, to read it, appreciate it, and you keep coming back to get more when you see it. And I'm also thanking you for being patient as the works are being printed up. Because like I said, a lot of this stuff, this is the other part of the Moorish Order Roundtable. It's just that I was the teacher that had this work, and it just didn't get printed up with the other work. But nonetheless, y'all the benefiting cherubs that are getting this. All right. So I want to open up the meeting like the prophet, like Father said, the Prophet Ali did. Whereas Father always wanted to open the meetings by reading from the Circle 7 Quran of the Moorish Science Temple of America, chapter 25. And we opened up reading that as a prayer. And when we would officially close the sermon meetings, we would read that same one. And again, I know a lot of you Moors are older Moors have been around. You have your Quran, you know, and some may be new. But when you hear the words, then especially for you newer Moors, you'll be like, all right, now I see why the Emir, His Grace, wanted to always open the meeting saying this verse. Because what it is this chapter is the Holy Covenant of the Asiatic nation. And the main reason why the Emir want that to be done is to remind the brothers and sisters of our holy covenant to each other when we walk out the doors. You know, I'm pretty sure a lot of us have stories where other Moors was doing dirty stuff, and it's like, yo, wait, you ain't supposed to be caught up in that. But as I read this as a prayer, those who are new and haven't heard will now understand. Ahillam and salam, assalamu alaikum. This is the prayer of the Holy Covenant of the Asiatic nation, chapter 25 of the Circle 7 Quran. This will be recited as a prayer, as an opening to set the vibration. The Holy Covenant of the Asiatic nation. Ye are the children of one father, provided for by his care, and the breast of one mother has given you suck. Let the bonds of affection therefore unite thee with thy brothers, that peace and happiness may dwell in thy father's house. And when ye separate in the world, remember the relation that bindeth you to love and unity. And prefer not a stranger before thy own blood. If thy brother is in adversity, assist him. If thy sister is in trouble, forsake her not. So shall the fortunes of thy father contribute to the support of his whole race, and his care be continued to you all in your love to each other. As I will this, so blessed be the healing. All right, what I'm about to write up on the board, first I'm going to recap, and for the brothers who wasn't here, I'm going to recap. We're going to really go in, because what was planned, I was unable to go all the way through, but we're going to go through it, and I'm going to go through the demo, but I'm going to cover what we did last week. The last time we had class, it was, I keep bringing them up, But as you see as time go on, you recognize the importance of the 7 dominant suggestible laws. We went through that. And then in a recap, remember I gave you sigils to write on your candles. And also, if you're more deeper, some of you may have parchments, and you might do a prayer spell. Well, I'll make it simple like this. Say, suppose you want to make a prayer. And for those who didn't get it, please, if you can, link up with someone who was here the last time and get the sigils. If you're doing a prayer request, and sometimes individuals will do this with candles, and you writing down your affirmation or your goal, you can write that down on a white sheet paper or maybe your index card, and you bless it, and you can write the sigil that is needed on that with your request. And sometimes you can sit it to the side, or you can sit it under the candle. Sigils can be used in many ways. And here's another way that I used a sigil. Again, please get with some of the brothers that are here that was there last time, that you can then see the sigils when you write them out. But we'll say one of them could be a blessing sigil. You can write that on the doorway of your house. You understand what I'm saying? Just as well as I have up here, I bought personally my holy ashes. So if anyone wants to, I only got 3, I only made 3. So if you hadn't gotten any last time and you want them, you can just come and grab it, take it. But I tell you, what we're dealing with is a spiritual war. And my students, when I would send packets out, I not only give the literature, but I also give the holy ashes. And the way you can utilize that is you can sprinkle it across your threshold of your spot and in the back door, maybe a little bit in your car if you're traveling or whatever. I just want to let you know there was other ways you can use the sigils. We're going to go into it because there's a whole lot more. And then there's Lemurian formulas. Because then, as time go on, if I'm seeing y'all got this, and we go into the Lemurian language or whatever. Just like they say, the Latin language, the dead language is your Lemurian language. It's kind of survived, and it's survived by those Hittians, but you call us Magi, who in history, who was killed by the Christians and burned as and labeled as witches. All right. Yeah. So, but again, you can use these sigils. You know what I mean? You might get real deep at this. You might be in your backyard or somewhere. Or you could be doing a ceremony on your own. You can literally write that sigil on the earth. I'm going to go into the circle of the Holy Quran, the Holy Korbeth, whereas I'm just giving you the message right now. The main message that the Creator has in the Holy Korbeth is basically telling you the Creator gave you the power that it has, and the Creator called it Axa power, A-X-A. And it's the same creative power the Creator has, that He created everything. And again, you're going to have to keep hearing me reiterating and repeating some things so you can get it. So when you hear me say a healing, that was the way we agreed each other. Just like I can show you in the Circle 7. And this is why I tell people, I said, the Circle 7 lets you know about us. Is there not a chapter in here going into the 3 Magi? The Magi that are in here, so... But also, you'll see in history, in the scriptures, whether it's a Circle 7 or the Bible, and you hear the term, and you say, all hail. All that was a variant on a healer. And this is the way we greeted each other. A healer. It's just touching the forehead to the solar plexus. So this is with Christians, when they imitated our priesthood, this is where they get the... I'm going to show you that to now. This is why I got here a little earlier and try to write the ritual of strengthening yourself and protecting yourself spiritually. All right, and we call it the Hittian star. I might repeat because I was going to just write the words up, but I'll just get the diagram and I'll just repeat it and you just write it because I didn't have time to write it on the board. But we call it the Hittian star, whereas we do a ritual making sounds. Remember, you'll find out sounds have an effect. Touching here, 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 here. And you're doing the prayer. I'm going to do that next. Again, when I'm saying about the Ahillam, the greeting Ahillam, you'll find out as you get the Holy Quote back, the Creator had said certain words because the Creator's words were powerful. Well, Ahillam is the greeting that the angels, the divine spirits, greet each other in heaven. Ahillam. And just as well as us Hittians, what we call us Magi, they're Ahillam. And that word, when the Creator uttered that word, the Creator said that after He created each and everything in creation. This is why that word is such a holy word. It's a very powerful word. So that's where healing comes from. But I'm glad some of you got your hands on the Holy Qurbeth by beloved Dr. Cherub, Dr. Nyla L. She was able to print up some, and we're going to keep printing them up to make them available. And we got a lot of brothers and sisters who are seeing us live stream who is ordering it. And I give my greetings again to the brothers in the West, South, here on the East Coast, and those who are in Canaan land. I say a healing and salam to you all for your great support. We got some stuff coming out to you. All right. So now that's what we covered, the sigils. Again, talk to the brothers there. Some who had the classes last time. Now, the other recap, remember I talked about the 3 degrees, and I had broke down what was it? The meaning of the numbers 3, 5, and 7, if y'all remember. And I just told you in short what 3 meant was 3 to rule, 5 to hold, meaning a meeting, and 7 to make a perfect lodge. But remember I also told you now we're going into the circle 7. And I gave y'all the basics of what you would understand the first 3 degrees and what you would call your Moorish rite. Remember I told you, when Jwali was alive, when Prophet Jwali was alive, in the attitude, that he actually had the Moorish rite of Freemasonry operating. Now, no one told you, I'm going to take a little moment and say this. Remember now, whenever I give you vignettes, it's for a reason. Everything ties together. I found out when I went in, a lot of stuff that we didn't know Masonically that happened. Just to remind myself, let me write this on the board so you know if I don't remember, y'all can say something before I start the ration. Anyway, we knew that Brother Ali was a Freemason. That was one of the criticisms York, Dwight York, and others would criticize all those Moorish Americans and their Freemasonry and whatever, and look at the way he stands, the ways Napoleon stands and whatever. But I already told you basically that stance. What does that mean, didn't I? Right. And what is the stance?
45 degree.
And you were right. And what did it mean standing in the 4-5 represents the 90? What?
Square.
Right. And in the hand?
Heart.
And meaning representing your?
Compass.
You said compass. Say it loud so people understand. So this is your compass and your square. You understand what I'm saying? So everything is symbolic. These are your holy Lemurian days. These are the other Lemurian days that are coming up. So I had to kind of remember that. Do your research on these days. And you'd be surprised. So I kept saying, you Moors, you're always jumping on Moorish and Moabite stuff, but you missing your old stuff. Universally, those Lemurian days, the 9th, 11th, 12th, they're recognized. All right. So anyway, going back to the story of Jwali, I found out when I went to the lodge, it was about 20 years ago, that he was considered the highest Freemason in the land. Now, when we went through, the elder broke down to us, because we thought we knew some stuff, but he let us know. He said, but y'all don't know, when Prophet Jwali went through his ritual to be raised, and this is rare if we study Freemasonry, the ritual was only set up for him. They usually, this is for the sake of those who are out there, usually when an initiation is set up, it's a group of brothers. They just don't do, so they did this, it was just for Jwali. But here's the kicker. The brother has said, other dignitaries around the world, very important men, princes, kings, ex-presidents. Some people were outside the country. They snuck in the country just to attend his raising. Just to attend Prophet Joali's raising. And that was divulged to me when I went through. I was like, wow. Dang, I thought I knew. And then that's when we found out, obviously, when he was functioning in the temple within his Adam chamber, he had the Moorish rite. And I just heard today, talking to an elder Moor on my way up, he was like, yeah, that's when he had the Canaanite temple and all, So I was like, wow. Now here's another little story that you may not know about Joali. I did tell you about the chair, about the story about Masonic. I tell you, I'll go to the George Washington Memorial in Alexandria, Virginia. Moors messed that up. Didn't know they had his chair there. But here's one I wanted to tell you. Now this was told to me by her Beatitude, and I'm going to try to get her here. The Sayed Raha Rashida Bey, who lives in Philadelphia, she was the one who vouched for my father and my family and brought us into the Great Seal Association of Moorish Affairs. She told us how there was a brother who wound up, he was a Freemason. And I didn't bring the book with me, but it's the book I bring about the lodge from across the street from City Hall in Philly. So that is a functioning lodge. So the brother went to the meeting early. And when he went in, he heard, obviously, the chanting. So it was empty. There was only a handful of guys. And they were in the middle of the lodge room circumambulating a big portrait of a brother. He walked in. They were busy doing their thing. Because if you go to the lodge, you see they have chairs set up in a certain way. And, for the east and west, and chairs on the other side. So they were in the center with the altar. And so the brother just quietly came in and sat down, was watching and observing. Then he's realizing there's a dark-skinned man with a turban on his head, portrait. And then when they finally realized what he was doing, that he was a stranger sitting down, they did like this and pulled the cover over the portrait. And then one brother went to proceed to escort him out. Now, I got to backtrack a little bit. The brother was supposed to be in the third. So, sister said, while they escorted him out, he's like, well, who's that guy in the portrait? He's like, oh, Noble Drawley. He ain't know nothing about Noble Drawley. So then when that brother did, he left there, he did his research and found out who Noble Drawley was, Moorish Science Temple of America, and she said he never went back to the Freemasonry. He just became a member of Moorish Science Temple of America. But the ritual was they recognized him as being the highest Mason in the land, and they were giving him respect. All right? Y'all got them days down? I want y'all to do your research on that because I want to keep this moving. I just had to leave a note for myself to remind me of this. Now, getting into Circle 7 real quick. Remember when I said about the 3 to 5 and 7? And I told you chapter what was for your entered apprentice, your first degree. For those who were there last week, you should have your Quran. Y'all, you see this Quran here? And one time I passed this around. Praise God, y'all some good brothers and stuff. Y'all returned the stuff because it was time I could do this back in the day. I lost the Quran and I lost the Class of Destinies and some other books. Some people were honest, and some other more see my book. And this is old. I got old seals stuff. Have a seal crest on it, they seen all my notes. Some of these notes are from my own studies, and some of them was from elder Moors who broke down some things. So, but anyway, chapter 3 is your entered apprentice. And what did I tell you? The main lesson on that degree is strength. It should be written upon your chapters in your holy scriptures so you understand. Also, if you didn't know Moors, if you Moors had a funeral service, this is the chapter you would read over the brother or sister who had passed. All right? This is the chapter you would read. But that's the main lesson of that first degree is strength. Again, I am giving this to you because as a brother and I demonstrated before we got on film here, when I say that you're standing upright, what degree is it?
90.
There you go. And CM Bey reaffirmed it in your clock of destiny. You reaffirmed it, and you are that living proof, the living pinnacle of wisdom, by just you wearing your fez on your head. Or sister is wearing her turban on her head. That's what that means. One more could turn around a whole society. That's historic. And I would tell people back in the early 90s when we were teaching, and Kevin Costner and Freeman redid Robin Hood, and a lot of people didn't know the behind the scenes of that movie. Morgan Freeman fought to get that role of Azim, the Moor. And I tell people, I said, it was good the way they did that because it showed you during that time period, for those who've seen it, a lot of us got a little grace and we've seen it. Some of you are young people, so go back on that. I found out they restarted that franchise and they can replay Jamie Foxx, but he gets Little John. I'm like, he try to keep.
Right.
Anyway, it's a scene in the movie showing you the historical on how backwards the Christian Europeans were and how advanced the Moors were. There was a scene where, of course, you see in the beginning, the Christian Costner, Robin Hood, freed Azim. So part of your Moorish custom is, that's a life debt. You saved my life. So he started hanging with him, got back to his home, and he did the regular Moorish thing. He put out his rug, and he was doing prayer. Meanwhile, he's on his land, and Robin Hood fighting people and stuff. You know, he's about to fight people. So then, it was a scene in the movie where there were people that was coming up close to him, but they far away. And Azim reaches in his bag, pulls out a leather. That you know what I was reaching to, brother. I wish they could see it in the camera. Use 2 crystal balls and make himself tough. So he's going like this. He's looking, and dude is like, "What are you?" He's like, "Oh yeah, well look here, Christian. You know, may not be the worst. It's been a long time, but anyway, he sees it and he's looking. He's pulling out his sword, ready to fight, swing. So it's showing you how ignorant they were.
Yeah.
So this is why we love the movie, because that was a movie. A couple other ones was things, but I said, but that showed you. Just that little tidbit, how advanced you Moors were. Another piece in the movie is when the Europeans finally accepted Azim and he was in their camp, Little John's wife was having a baby.
Right, preached. Yeah.
And they were, nobody knew how to birth a baby. And he said, what did he say? He said, well, I've seen horse people, but I think I basically know the basics of this. You know, yeah, so he did his work. So that showed you again how advanced the Moors, your ancestors were. And once he did that, he birthed that baby, they loved him. Even though prior to that, they were calling him, you Saracen, you know, this and that, and they opened up to him. So all I'm saying is that's showing you how intelligent you Moors were. It was a time, like I told you, 300 years prior to the history that they give us. Those of us who went and got higher education in college, they talk about the Renaissance. But what they won't tell you is 200 to 300 years prior to that, the person wasn't called the Renaissance. He was actually called a Moorish Renaissance man. But they neglect to leave that in history. And all that meant was a Moor who was well educated. You knew a lot. So now, let's keep it going. Chapter 5. Remember I told you that is the chapter of what? Degree. You should say the second degree. And that's usually called the fellow of craft. Or from a Moorish point of view, you say adept. And the main meaning of that degree and learning the lessons on that lesson, on that degree, is stability. And remember I told you, if you're reading it, those who would peek at my Quran, because I had passed it out last time, if you're reading that chapter, we'll say from chapter 14 on to 21, I did on the side. This is when you know you got active. I don't know if one of them will pull up the camera. When I pass my Quran around, those who look up, you see my little drawings of the tools that it's describing in those verses. You need to write that. Because again, what I am giving you is I am free. My cord was cut. You all know being here, you know a lot of things, what they would call Masonic, because like I told you, I am the missing link, so I'm letting you know. All they're doing is imitating me. So I'm not really so much giving up their secrets. I'm giving them secrets of my creed, of my order. But I wanted to show you out of my Masonic Bible that, because remember we talked, brother, he was like, how do you know the 32nd degree thing? And I showed you. He was like, I showed you the picture and everything. I'm trying to get to, here we go. You know, you got the structure of the Freemasonry degrees going up. But the point is, each symbol represents something, is my point. And see how beautifully Brother Prophet Jurali put that Quran together? And I'm giving you, so I wanted y'all to see, and I thank you so much for making the move so that those out there, you got to see up close. Again, I might even have to make a little copy of my own personal Quran. And some people was like, because it was a time we would always clean up our work. And it was other Moors that was really serious, like y'all. They said, nah, I don't care. I want your notes and stuff, man. All this stuff in here. And I literally had Moors that was trying to buy, they was giving me, they was going up in numbers like, yo, I'll pay this for you. I'll buy it off you. And I was like, nah. So I'd say, those who are sincere, when I start copying things, if you don't mind, you'll benefit from my notes on some things. So, but I'm telling you, like, for instance, the second chapter. Oh, and if you didn't know, even though I'm telling you these degrees in your Moorish rite, meaning if you was to have a meeting, like right now, where I'm talking about chapter 5, and this is the degree of the adepts, or if you say European Freemasonry, and just say, fellows of the craft. This means the lodge will be opened, or our meeting will be open to you brothers who are on this degree. So anybody that's a newer person, they can't come in. And on the altar, since this is a degree, the Quran will be on the altar, opened to this chapter. Do you feel me now? And it's the same if you was in a lodge. If they, this is why you see the Bible and revere, because that's the basic tone. And in a particular chapter, it would be that on the altar. It's a little tidbit information, but you needed to know this. And then some of you are already adepts in your temple, so you most likely understand some things that I'm saying. So I just wanted to at least let you know that. So verse 14, where it says, the use of the square to measure all lines, to straighten out the crooked places of the way and make the corners of our conduct square. That's a heavy lesson in itself. So this is why I say, make the little drawing of the square. And this is where we're in the class of getting the spiritual work. You're now getting the answers and understanding to the symbolic of the tools and things that those of you who did your research and you pick up Masonic work. But remember what I told you Moors. This is the difference between you and my other brothers that I'm in the other foot that you call Freemasons. Remember, they're speculative. There you go. We're the operative. There's a difference. You're the real deal. That's why I say it again, and I can say it without flinching. I am the real deal. I just use the word that y'all can relate to and say, you call me Magi. But our creed name, we're the Hittians. We were the king priests. We were the ones who came and told you the Nazarene was coming. And when he came, we were the first ones to give homage to him and gave him 3 gifts. And those gifts meant something spiritual. We gave him a chest of gold, a chest of frankincense, and a chest full of myrrh. Remember I told you, everything you do is spiritual, Moors. You already know that for some fact you're sitting here. You already know that for the years y'all been following my father and y'all been studying. No matter how far you were, but you made sure you got this knowledge. Because a lot of Moors was going to grave with this, but you needed to know. So yeah. So the gold represented the wealth. He was a king, material plane. The frankincense meant that was an element that was used to heal the sick. And myrrh was used in a ritual of the dead. Simple, ain't it? So then the next verse in the circle 7. Of course, before I leave that, verse 14, where it says, the squares measure in the line straighten out, and the crooked places of the way, and make the corners of conduct square. That's a lesson in itself. What that is saying here, and I can go down the list of the dirty Moors that I bring to y'all attention that have messed the movement up and kind of affected y'all. They don't see the bigger picture. But this is a lesson.
Dr. Hannibal, can you go back to the gold represented what, the frankincense represented what, and the myrrh represented?
Yes, beloved. The gold represented him being the king, on the material plane. Because, every king that has a kingdom, they have their treasury. And that's what that meant wealth. You understand what I'm saying? And then the frankincense was meaning he was a king of healing. Because frankincense was an element that was used to heal, as an element, using, to heal the sick. And then myrrh, through burial rituals, that was used in burial ritual, for those who passed on. Apologize if I had moved a little bit fast on that. And that's good, because I'm glad you just didn't raise your hand. That's why I love you, bro. I apologize I didn't get back to you. Hit me up and was hitting back, but it was other people hitting me, and I'm glad you was patient and we was going back and forth. So, but I'm definitely going to cover the subject me and you was talking to. Okay. So I'm going to do that tonight. I love you, bro. But I'm glad you did that, because a lot of people say yes, and yet you maybe stop and backtrack. So that was good for others to need to hear that. That's why I love you, brother. You definitely one of the old brothers. It was like me. So, like I was saying, on verse 14, where it says, the use of the square and the compass and the lines, and, to straighten out the crooked places and the ways and make the corners our conduct square. This is why you see in Freemasonry the symbol of, you call it the ashlar or the brick, if you will. You say ashlar, but you are symbolic of the brick. It's supposed to be like the brick. But anyway, you start out as a rock. It has all kind of misshapings of it. But you learning the spiritual lessons, we'll just say this is all jagged rock and what have you. But you learning the spiritual lessons, wanting to know about the Creator and your relationship with yourself, and building your moral code. The other symbol that is used, I'm going to do the histrionics so you can understand. The other symbol that is used to smooth out the rigidness, because you're representing the brick. We'll say this is the chisel, and this is the hammer. So you learning the moral codes and being closer to God, you get what I'm doing symbolically, you get what I'm doing. Say it loud.
Smoothing away the rough edges.
Excuse me. Do the James
Smoothing away the rough edges.
So now you see the importance of what I'm saying. Of the histrionics, you need to know this, and I trust the brothers and sisters out there, beloveds, you're going, aha, or are y'all doing the Dr. Evil thing? Okay. Either way, but you see the importance.
Yes, sir.
And this is why some things has to be given to you symbolically, because then you have other brothers and sisters who will miss it. So when you see the other symbols in Freemasonry with the chisel and the mallet, they're representing of you hammering down the scriptures and learning moral lessons to make yourself a better ashlar or a better rock to be used to be that brick to be used in the building of King Solomon's temple.
Soul of man.
Pideo. I'm doing the whole video. Pideo.
Yes, sir.
See, you got it? I should make sure you say this so everybody hear it again.
Yes, sir.
I can say it, but this is the activity.
Solomon means the soul of man.
Right. Right. So See how I made that simple?
Yes, sir.
And remember what I said to y'all straight up from the degrees of 1 all the way up. Remember I told y'all about the degrees. What I said all they really are is what? Moral lessons. And then I said, so when you see a Moor, just as well as a Freemason or Eastern Star, get caught up in some ranky stuff and they doing some foul crap, whether you're a Freemason or Eastern Star or not, you then can chide them and really go in. Because then that means if we got all these degrees, that means we got higher moral lessons than you did. So that meant we really knew a sense of right and wrong. What the hell are you doing stealing money? What the hell are you doing yada, yada, yada? I'll never forget in the early 2000s in Philadelphia, and this ain't no secret, so nobody ain't got to come at me because it was some drama. And us Moors found out about it. There was a black Negro lodge in Philly, across the bridge from me, I think I'm in Camden. And somebody had stole either $150,000 to $250,000. Nobody ain't knew nothing and nobody ain't investigated. And we just so happened to meet one of the brothers, who was a young brother, because I was in my 30s at that time. It was at the turn of the century, of the millennium. And he was one of them Moors, one of them unconscious Moors, but he was in a lodge, and he found out about me and the other brother, and he was like, y'all young brothers, and y'all 33rds? He said, shoot, I'm hanging with y'all. And if I remember right, he was one of those brother Masons that was under that lodge and heard that stuff, under that corruption, and it turned them off. And then nobody did do no daggone investigation. How are you going to all of a sudden 100 or 250,000 missing, and y'all just keep taking, having a meeting like nothing happened? That's major embezzlement. You know what I mean? So, but yeah, so now y'all got the simple. Y'all got the basic. See how I'm keeping it simple to y'all? I'm giving it to the point. Yes.
Okay, brother, you said from the first to the third degree is moral lesson?
Yeah, basically, we'll say 32.
Okay.
This is honorary. One would work and do a lot of work in the community or what have you, or do a lot of work in the lodge. And actually, this is the truth. You can repeat it if you want, so the brothers and sisters can hear your question. That's why they gave it to you. You can repeat it.
Yes, sir. My question was, from the first degree to the 32nd degree, what was it? And you answered my question. You said there are moral lessons.
That's all.
Yes, sir.
That's all it really is. I'm going to give you some heavy stuff because I'm just recapping, but I'm going to some stuff here. It's going to be really heavy. But generally, that's what I just gave you. Now, like I was explaining, like the brother said here, from the first to 32nd, it's basically moral lessons out of the Bible. And like I gave Dr. Nala L., for the sisters, there's 5 key sisters in the Eastern Star. That's why they have that star. I don't know why they turned it upside down, but nonetheless, each star represents a key sister from the Bible that is their, how can I say, their heroines. Like we have our hero, you know what I mean? And you're being, because there are actually 2 Hirims, if you didn't know. Yes, there's a Hiram, king of Tyre, and there's Hiram Abiff, who's a master builders.
Hiram, king of who?
Tyre. It's in the Bible. Read in the Bible. This is 2. But anyway. And then the other hero is Solomon, King Solomon. All right. And if you didn't know, and I showed you wars before, I showed y'all my credentials. And this is so you can see it again. I might pass it around again. But I showed y'all my great seal ID, and I showed you all the stuff you didn't see. Well, if you open up, you'll see that worshipful master is King Solomon. So I'll pass it. You see. All right. So with the Eastern Stars, remember when I tell I tell you there's 5 sisters, and I tell the sisters, you're Ruth the Moabitess. Well, Ruth is focused on the 2nd degree for the sisters. All right. So some things I might touch on with you brothers, but I want to make sure I get to the sisters first. Because one thing, we got to also understand, a lot of stuff we're talking about, the sisters got to filter through, and they got to listen to you brothers, but nobody's not really giving them anything. You know what I mean? Because, just as well as you have your signs, so they have some. You know what I mean? So I'm kind of taking some care of some things with the sister. So the 33rd is basically honorary, which got to be bestowed or wished upon the brother. And this is where another brother might mess up. Where he'd be like, all right, I got this degree. Now I got to get one more degree. All the other Masonic brothers and lodges, they hear that when it's time, they start to get to issuing out that honorary degree, he gets blocked. He can never get it. You can't want that degree. It's got to be wished upon you by your other brother.
Like Ali, the title Ali, like you said.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Say that again, because I'm glad Dr. Nala was the only person for decades beside my father and I that kept telling everybody about the Ali. And here it's good to hear from another brother. You said just like the...
Yes, sir. You said about people wanting a degree.
Yeah.
It got to be wished upon them. It's like the noble title Ali. It's not something that you can take upon yourself. It's something that you have to earn.
Right. It's a degree to wish upon, because again, y'all say 33rd, but remember I told you the actual title name? You see it in the initials, but I'll put the initials up, because I'm like writing this, because other stuff I got to write up here for you. I got to get this all. SGIG. It's the initial of the actual title of the 33rd. All it means is Sovereign Grand Inspector General. Now, I work that up and say this. So when you get to this degree, you're taught you are a king. That's why I was saying when people bringing up the subject of I'm sovereign, I'm like, stop. As soon as the European or others hear you say sovereign, they know that's when you don't know. Because for one, sovereign is understood tacitly, especially when you're dealing with nation to nation. Don't believe me? Take yourself, your handsome selves, Moorish selves, up to the United Nations and sit on the floor if you can get in. And when you hear the nations going back and forth with each other, you may only hear the word sovereignty brought up once. That's if another nation is egregiously violating another nation. And they're saying, we have the sovereignty right because of yada, yada, yada. So when you hear an individual talking about, I'm sovereign, like I said to y'all earlier before we went on camera, that's from the Patriots. Patriots were the Europeans. That's what they called themselves in the 90s. About time you got into the 2000s, they switched their name up and called themselves sovereign citizens. And so then we had a lot of unconscious Asiatics coming into the movement, coming from them. Now, they were either Negroes or they were agent provocateurs. You picked. And they were mixing it up. And it was a time that Father and I was telling Moorish and trying to clean it up in the late 90s, going into the 2000s. They didn't want to hear nothing from us. We said, all you use is the 1-207 of the UCC commercial code to put over your signature, reserving your rights. After that, leave it alone. Just get back to the Constitution. No, they wanted to get all to the straw man. They didn't want to hear nothing from His Grace the Emir Taj. They didn't want to hear nothing from Dr. Hannibal. Because we were telling them, leave it alone. Why? They was being impressed. They were using the CMOs, and people were literally driving off of brand new car lots with brand new cars using it. They didn't want to hear nothing. Until the dust settled and the Europeans knew that they were being janked. Or like Father said, and it might be recorded, because a lot of people came to our round table and we used to let them record. We didn't have all that social media, so they let them set up. But they would show you what Father said. Utilize it and get back to law. Leave that alone. And then so we started having people come. And I remember, and I'm not putting the sister's name out there, had a brand new damn SUV, hit me up and tried to get me to help her keep it. Because they figured it out. Father said, yeah, what it was is, it took them a while. He said, that's like y'all calling the kettle black. Meaning with that you're doing, you know they're corrupt, being a Moorish, you already know that information. And then all you did was took their paperwork and did more corruption to go get that. So you're not more on the right than they were. Just leave it alone, because Moors do not get caught up in scams. There you go.
Yes, sir.
In the camera, in your mic.
Yes, sir, brother. The initiative that you have up there is
that's what this is. That's the actual name. You also
Sovereign Grand Inspector General.
Yeah, Sovereign Grand Inspector General. That's the actual name.
All right, thank you, sir.
Yeah. So so I was like, the kettle corn black. And we had some that was so good at it because this was just fertile ground for them. The negative Moors, the dirty Moors that came in, wrote off of our Moorish honors. Let me tell you, we actually had some that used this UCCs and saying they was going to help humanity and all this when they was in the court, and the judge looked at what they were doing and said, well, how is this going to help? I got to sidetrack a little bit. They went to AC and got, I think, presidential hotels and stuff, gambling, was even ordering porn off the damn place. So the judge was like, how is this helping, humanity? You done got a car from this and that. Now you done went and got this thing in the HD thing. And how is Debbie Does Dallas and Deep Throat going to help the nation?
Right.
So he threw the book at him. That took place in the early 2000s, almost close to the time York went down. These are individuals up here in Jersey area, if y'all didn't know. So I'm giving y'all a lot of backstory. Because nobody didn't want to hear nothing until they started collecting this thing. We started getting an influx of individuals who were skirting and using this, and now wanted us to help them get out of their drama. So this should also fill in when I keep telling y'all, we had the actual structure of Great Seal almost filled out. People had offices, we were having meetings, we were doing certain things. That's how we then was able to get to the level of operating on the national tags. But we kept getting sidetracked. People want us to help them with their legal stuff. And that's why I tell you all the vignettes. And when Father last went to court helping people, then I stopped. Because it was a distraction. Not to mention it was individuals who was trying to usurp the movement. And then, so the people that you know, that I keep telling you, the guy who prints something and the polite dude and somebody else talk about they selling you freedom packets. They are actually usurping the Great Seal Association of Moorish Affairs, and the highest official is His Grace, the Emir, Grand Sheikh Taj Tariq Khatib Bey. Prior to him, this was the old structure of the Great Seal, was brother, which was His Grace, like I told you, he was the Emir, Yusuf Rami Bey. God rest his soul. So, if you had to get the nationality and all the other stuff, we were the people who you came to. But the people that opened up the door, and I hate to say she was a friend of mine, but God rest her soul, the Empress. She had the Washita. I think I explained that to y'all. She seen what we had, and she tried to incorporate it. But y'all already know there's no such thing as no Washita nation, just as well as there's no such thing as the Cherokee nation. There was only one nation here. It was the Moorish nation. Everybody else, they were tribes.
Family name.
See what I'm saying? And then so I think I broke it down to one brother. I think it was you, brother. I said, this is why the Europeans had no problem avoiding or not adhering to the tribal treaties. Because what? They were actually dummy treaties. There was only one nation that they signed a treaty with. And who's the first nation? That's all that stuff. That's tribal stuff. But what do you know that is true? Who's the first nation that signed a treaty with the United States of America?
Right.
See what I'm saying? And it still stands today. And they at least hold to that. All we got to do is when we wake brothers and sisters up, don't let them come in, like I said, fist tip to the side, pants hanging off, Tim's not tied. Yo, what's up, Jay? Yeah, I'm sovereign. Yeah. Like I told you the story of the cat had in Philly in the early 90s, had the tags on his car, went to go pick up an elder, purposely parked his damn car in a daggone bus stop. By the time she comes out, he's arguing with a police officer. But praise God, the elder calmed the stuff down. And the cop generally said this. Tell you the truth, we don't have a problem with the tags. The problem, we was like, he parked in the bus zone. Told y'all the story about the other one that purposely angst the cops and had a car full of niggas. And watch this, y'all. Got called on this stuff. I told you about the thing how he got carried away in the courtroom. These are the people that was hurting the movement.
Right.
That I had to give y'all the backstories. I'm not putting their names outside, putting them out on Front Street, but y'all need to know. Prior to that, everybody knew, from the Freemasons, Europeans, just as well as Asiatics, unconscious, who was considered clandestine. That's your Prince Hall and all them, and Nation of Islam, and Rosicrucian, and everybody else. When a Moor came up in the house with the feds with turban on their house, we were like E.F. Hutton. When you spoke,
Right.
everybody listened.
Right.
Because they knew whatever came out of your mouth was not bullish, and y'all didn't joke, and anything you did it on honor.
That's right.
We have to get back to that, which I already know y'all.
It's not.
I already know y'all know that. And I'm just thankful again that y'all requested for me to come out. I'm giving you what I've got. And some of my other students, they hit me up by text and they said they're happy. And they saying, you know, they kind of happy, but in a way they jealous that y'all are getting what they've been getting for years privately. You know what I mean? So, but it's time. The universe moved it. You know what I mean? I've been hearing about y'all and Dr. Nyla for years. Father was coming down here for a while, and I kept saying, I'm gonna come by. So now the universe moved this. So I'm giving y'all that to let you know the backstory so you can know what you're dealing with, because everybody knows who you are. There are people, the only one that don't. Right. And also, when I keep telling y'all the story of 20 years ago, when I heard that Clifford Ezel was talking to the Sovereign Grand Commander, that's the highest of the 33rd degree. Like I just gave you the initials of us, but the person that's over them, their initial is Sovereign Grand Commander, so it's SGC. And that's the person where, I didn't show y'all the picture I had, where they have a throne in D.C., the House of the Temple. All right? And Clifford Ezel was in talks with this brother, this European brother Mason, and he said, I see what you Moors are doing. Just keep bringing them in and set up your Moorish right, and we'll be ready to sit down and give you your land and money. That was 20 years ago. Now I'm looking, to me, that's, I don't want to say a blink of an eye, but I can still remember. And I'm like, and we're so far from where we were, and it's sad, but I know it's a result of the dirty ones that I keep telling y'all. So that when you see them, you say hi to them, but also let them know, I know. And we need to do like all other groups. We need to blackball them. And then make sure that they don't teach nowhere. That they're not getting money off of the people no more. Like I told y'all before, now it's starting to sink in. Where I told you when Father finally went up to New York, the stuff that you're getting from your nationality card and all that, I sometimes go down the list and tell you how much it costs. They were charging up to $3,000. Hell, I went off at the turn of the millennium when we heard one person was faking and being my father and was charging up to $1,200. And I was like, wow. And that's when I then say, I'm giving you the names of the people I do know, but I don't go too much in on them. I blame it on the people. And this is why Dr. Nyla is making sure we do business and we're doing it properly, because I say this. They had no problem getting screwed and paying all that money. Because the problem Father and I was getting, people would get a little angsty at just little stuff that we had. And why we got paid is this stuff should be free. And we were giving it away like that. That's why I tell y'all about Fowler, but I also say, but you know, like they say, don't hate the play, hate the game. But she did it right. And Dr. Nair is keeping us on point. You know, you got to cover costs. And a servant is worthy of his hire. The prophet said that. And it takes finance to build a nation. But we don't never juke nobody. So that's one thing that's good in this house, this temple, that Dr. Nala doing. She makes sure she ain't jipping y'all. And when we now got to shake the rug a little bit, get some of these bed bugs out. But nonetheless, you're only supposed to just pay cost. People are working off of your virtues. And I never thought when I was young and hearing the words of the teachings of the Moorish Science Temple, the words of the prophet, and warning us on certain things, I never thought that I would see the day when they said, Moors, be careful. This is what the prophet said, Moors, be careful. Because you're going to have Moors with turbans and feathers on that's going to try to put you back into slavery. I knew you were going to say something, brother.
Yes, sir. There were some people down in Florida that was taking the proclamation papers off of R.B. Bey and changing the font size.
Mm-hmm.
And they were selling them for like $1,500–$1,800. Yeah, people have.
I didn't even know that. So you telling me?
Yeah, they got it. It's in North Florida somewhere. Okay, and they was taking the documentation off of R.B. Bey and changing the font size. And they was literally going to get seals from Tallahassee to put on the documents.
See how that is? Now, remember when I tell y'all as an example, I'll always teach you by vignettes, because you'll find out that's how Freemasonry is. When you pick up extra books besides the Moors and Dogmas, you'll get little booklets that says 5-minute lessons for Freemasonry, and they're basically vignette stories, but they have a meaning behind them. Those who may have heard my radio interview, and I think I gave this example where I said, this actually happened historically again, that there were Moors that got to the Freedmen's Bureau or refugees and what have you, and got their 40 acres and a mule. Yeah. And then the guy, Dr. Gaines, that was doing people's DNA-ish that others, Europeans, bit off of him that he had on TV. He did Tina Turner and Chris Rock and all. Well, he divulged and found out that there were some Moors that actually got out of slavery, got their stuff, and they appointed themselves to go to different plantations to read the Emancipation Proclamation to the brothers and sisters and let them know you're free. And they obviously were the ones who probably led them to when it, the Freedmen's Bureau, when it stayed open until it got shut down. From what I understood and was told as a little boy in the temple, it was a Moor who was running it, and he took the bag and ran it. Yeah, he got paid off and then went and married a European. But I say as an example, it's like 5 of us, and I say it's me, my father, Dwight, Valerie, they're not King, and I say we all go to the spot and we find their Freedmen's Bureau, we get back our names and stuff, and we get our $100, we get our mule, we get back our Bay and Hill names, and then they tell us before we leave, don't forget to go in the back and go get your donkey, because your donkey's that's your mule that tills the soil. And me and Daddy come out and say, wow, this is great, we're free, we got our own land, got our deed, 40 acres, we got our $100, that's a lot of money. And I said, and me and Father was like, oh, we lucky, we next to each other, so let's go secure our land up. And we got our wife and our children, whatever, and we'll lead them home. And then what we'll do, since we can read, we appointed ourselves to go down south to the different plantations and read the proclamation to the brothers and sisters and let them know that they were free. Okay. Now, in my same example, I said, so now the other 3, Dwight, Valerie, and Nakeem says, you know what, hey, that's a good idea. They powwow with themselves. They just overheard us. So they said, that's a good idea what Taj and Hannibal doing. But this is what we'll do. We'll show them, we'll tell them too. Yeah, we'll show y'all, y'all gather up, we'll show y'all and take y'all to the Freedmen's Bureau. But when you go, you give me $50 out of your 100. And out of your deed, your 40 acres, you give me 20 acres. So I said, that's the way you need to look at those individuals, what they're doing to you. You get it? And take that little vignette when y'all Moors are teaching people, and they'll know that they're being robbed. So that's why I give you these little vignettes so we can really hit home. And I feel sometimes bad when I'm keep repeating it, but I know when I do repeat it, then y'all get it. And Father always told me that anyway. A lot of our lessons, and I'm giving it to you, you're going to have to repeat yourself. Because what was happening with us is, we were given a lot of lessons and stuff, and the thing that was bothering me, I don't have as much patience as my father. And he'll have a problem, keep repeating what we're saying. We were always giving out literature and stuff. And darn, we touch on something in jurisprudence, somebody would say, well, wait a minute, I don't understand. And we'd say, wait a minute, we just gave you that last week or last month in the paperwork, what you didn't read. And it became a problem. And so this was the other catchphrase we used to say amongst us in the round table, oh, you want a paper chase. Because then you'd hear individuals saying, well, I need this document when I go here, and you obviously are not knowing what you got. And a lot of what you have is there. You know what I mean? So that's why I said, I may seem like I'm chiding you, but I'm letting y'all know, you're kind of spoiled and you're going for Moorish honors. Take your time with it. To keep things, correct your name. You know what I mean? They want to come in. I'm checking, I'm sovereignist and all that. I don't want this jurisprudence. I want this corporate. You still got to go to work. You still got to keep the roof on your head. You got to, you know what I mean? You still need to, you got a means of transportation. You still need to drive that without being harassed. So a lot of y'all did know we had Moors was correcting their names on their driver's license. The key thing was to correct your name and make sure you had your crown on. Because guess what happened? I'll tell you a story real quick. This was me being a pastor with my cousin. My cousin had passed, like ill. And he was in the process where some of you were. He still had his old driver's license, but when you learn from me, I tell him, you quickly go. It costs you money, but you know it's going to take time when you get to it. Then go back up to what's the name, but take it with your fez or turban on. So then when you got stopped and you then hand them your ID and you hand them your Moorish ID, guess what they see the commonality? They seeing the turban. There you go. They seeing the turban or the fez. And the conversation quickly, oh, all right. Now what you don't know, if I hadn't said it before, but I'll say it to you now. These Roman soldiers were our called civil authority terrorists. They hurt my brothers. But anyway, your so-called police you're dealing with, they are part of the police fraternal order police. So the fraternal order police is really Freemasons. So they're an extension of Freemasons. So they at least are a first to a fifth degree Freemason. You hear me? So this is why I'm telling you straight up, and I've been saying it to you, and I'm going to repeat myself again. So when you're dealing with them, you're saying, I said you address them as you, another Muslim brother, you call him Brother Hiram. Or if you're dealing with a woman, you Sister Ruth. Yeah.
Beloved, what about the whole concept of not being a part of the corporation, domiciling in your appropriate colonial territory, and not driving but conveying, and the whole idea of not falling into the jurisdiction of the municipality or the tenants of the municipality, i.e. the NBA.
So again, that's why I make it simple to you when I'm telling y'all what y'all dealing with right now. Your individuals just kind of took it to the street. I'm telling you the way it was when the individuals did it sensibly. Not saying you're not doing it sensibly, but the key thing is, put it like this: when you do go to these courts and you're dealing with these individuals, you at least want them to address you as your free name, right or wrong.
For sure.
You understand what I'm saying?
Yes, sir.
So the key thing was, like I said, and fathers always say, you didn't get in this overnight, and you're not going to get out of it overnight. So it was actually steps of, well, I took it off, but I said degrees, but I'm going to just say it was steps and degrees. So if you're just correcting your name, you know you're still learning. Why do you want to jump in 2 feet talking more diplomatic stuff, all the technicals that you're talking, as opposed to doing it with a common sense, because it was elders that did it before you, and I say it to you simply, so maybe that was the good part that I fell back from all that. Yeah, y'all have developed, but I'm telling you, once I started getting some of them elders that still out, they tell you they wasn't harassed or something like that. If you did something, you obviously did something. If you sped, you sped. You know what I mean? If you did, they try to do something, but you were respectable, it wound up getting the case thrown out. You know, once in a while something be a little, you know, it depends, but normally you more didn't get caught in it. But my point was this. You did things in degrees. You corrected your name. The next step was to go to Social Security. I heard somebody say, I don't want to go to these entities with. I'm telling you, way before you came on the scene, this is how it's done. The only reason why some of the process is different than what I'm telling you the way it was done is because I keep giving you the backstories of the people that sabotaged the damn movement. So it couldn't stop. So what Father did and others that was beside it and was really truly helping. So the best thing you can do, if somebody threw a brick in the damn stream, what the water going to do? Yeah, it's going to go around to, you know what I mean, to at least keep going. So that's what you're doing with the technicality. But prior to that, like I'm telling you, you go and correct your name. It was a date that was spent aside. And Moore had all the stuff that I showed you, the ID, certificate. Right. This is why I keep telling y'all the importance of this damn certificate, this daggone certificate. Where's it at? Because they see IDs, but one damn thing on your ID's got the same, and it's from their entity that's federal. And on your ID, it would say, because I know you probably look to see, you're going to do that to the camera. Yeah, you're going to do that to the camera. That's what you're going to do. Yeah. So they seeing it's a Library of Congress thing, and then on your ID, it's not only saying Library of Congress, it's also saying the Department of Justice, registered under that AA222-141.
There you go.
So then they had nothing to do, if you made sense, but to correct your name on your driver's license. And you had you prove you ain't trying to be a fraud. And if you come in with them, because I told you once you correct your name, the next step is Social Security. And right, Social Security, the next step is the driver's license. You need that to move. And then so if they're looking at that, and then they're looking at your Social Security, which they correct your name, all right, and they're not sounding stupid, and you're standing on your First Amendment right, freedom of religion.
Would you speak about the...
Here you go, brother.
You understand what I'm saying? So this is how it was done. And then my thing was, you weren't doing anything to get yourself in trouble prior to that. But then you had individuals who was doing. I'm sorry, that's why I'm telling you the story. I don't mean to make you laugh, but I'm telling you how, man, y'all act like the regular Negroes. You give them a damn inch and they get there and make a take a daggone football field. And all the old other sayings, you give a nigga a suit, you start tripping. Yes. You want the mic. You know what I mean? So all I'm saying, I give y'all the backstory so you'll know. And then these are the same words. And then when you come together as a body. Go ahead, Dr. Nala.
Islam, just for point of clarity, some of the things that you're saying that were done, when discussion is had, since I've been in this Moorish, divine and national movement, was told or was under the understanding, so you can correct me if I'm wrong, that we don't go back under certain jurisdictions. So, when it comes, so people don't change their, put their appellation on a driver's license or their mortgage instrument, all of these fraudulent, we're calling these documents frauds and so forth. And so we don't go and put our free national name on those types of instruments. Now, can you bring some clarity to that? Because I'm sure I'm not the only one.
Yeah, it's clear what I'm saying to you. Again, elders did this way before y'all came. Because of the certain things that happened, like I told you, it was like somebody threw a brick in the situation when they messed the situation up. Meanwhile, y'all still getting nationalized and getting awoke. So through the works of the jurisprudence that you're doing, what did they do? They didn't let the brick block you. They just went around it. Meaning the Moorish just went around it to keep the movement going. Because again, the key thing is this. I'm just giving you the backstory. The level that you're at right now, this would have been totally perfect had you would know that this would be the Great Seal Association of Moorish Affairs. All of y'all would be different officials of the Great Seal. When you step out of that door, somebody is going to the United Nations. Someone's going to the state government. Someone's talking to the president. You hearing where I'm going? So then when you're moving as a body, everything you're saying, yeah. Because it was a time that you not only had your tags and you had your Moorish driver's certificate and everything, you also then when you returned that, this is a movement that we were going with this, that you then told them, register my number here, put this, so then your stuff was in their system. So again, like I said, I just made it clear, whereas there were certain stopgaps that was put in place because Dirty Moors was messing up the situation. Meanwhile, a lot of you were waking up and you were working your work.
Sounds like to me that 25, 30 years ago, the idea was to kind of merge in without being as disruptive. And that was the plan. even though we had law on our side and continue
Right.
to do so today, and then with the bricks being cast in, where people
You say it's so beautiful.
asserting their freedoms, dare I say, obnoxiously,
You're saying it's so beautiful.
then we were forced to throw down the gauntlet.
Right. And what
Like
you're
we're doing now.
Right.
And
See what I'm saying?
which is a fight. It's
Right.
still a fight that must be had.
Yeah, but it would have been a whole lot easier. Because like I'm telling y'all getting over 20-something years, you hear me telling we active Great Seal. It was active way before we got it. But we were getting to the point we should have been at our building. You should know more from the Great Seal by the color of their headdress and whatever, their office. Like Father's the Emir. They didn't elect a sultan, which is over him, because they said the last brother, his name was His Highness, his name is Tariq Il. He passed before we came. And they never found nobody worthy. So Brother Yusuf Rami, the Emir, was the only one. Their color is purple. Alright, so I gave the sister the passing stuff around. This is the structure of the Great Seal. So in case you want to show them real quick, they'll see the offices, the colors, the emblems that represent them, or whatever that you pass to the brother. So we should have already been functioning. Now let's just say we are. Great Seal Association of Moorish Affairs. Here, this would be an extended embassy. So the stuff that we're doing right now, guess what? It wouldn't be so hard because we'd be just like the Jews. You have your respect. That's why I love the way you explained it because you understood what I was saying. And then so now you're at the point, you have to let them go, but I'm letting you know, others did it. You didn't open it up and look at the pictures inside so you can see the offices. At least go to the structure so that people can see. Not so much the book. Open the whistling so they can see the Emir, and see the emblem, and see such and such so you can just quickly see it. But anyway, is that the Great Seal structure? Wait a minute. Not that. Going to make sure. It should be the section and rudder. Is that, if I'm making sure? No, open it up. Open it up so I can see. I might have the wrong book. That's not the section. It's not the section and rudder. It should be the structure of the Great Seal. It's not. Nah. All right, that's not it. It's a structure of the Great Seal. My bad. There's a structure of the Great Seal with each office, and then there's a seal, and it tells you the color coordinates and whatever. This is just a quick sample of the one I had here. But Father put it in this proper form, and it was actually done like that, so that was my mistake. But follow me. You already had what you would say your Moorish palace, White House, whatever you want to call it. And then each state would be your different embassies. So when you operate like this, you wouldn't even be having the problem you had. But you definitely would have to do something where you had your car tags and stuff recognized in the system. And there's Moors from Baltimore that would back what I'm saying. Whereas they did it and they didn't have a problem. And they made sure they had that Moorish tag information and what's the name, because the person returned their state tag, and they just put them in the system. We were just supposed to keep building with that. And the more that you're together as a solid, like they say, united you stand, but divided you fall. You understand what I'm saying? Because they were giving us respect. We had numbers and we had movements. When a Moor went to court, guess what? Daggone courtroom, you see nothing but red feathers and turbans. Sometimes a little sprinkle of different colors of feathers and turbans. But we were seen. You just had to keep that momentum. And again, I go back to what Brother Troy was saying, which you explained so beautifully, which you recognize, we just had to pray down the gauntlet because they would have changed it. And the bad thing about it, people that was on your side made it harder for you. That's why I give you these vignettes. Prior to that, it would make sense. And it was no big thing. You didn't want to be under their jurisdiction. But still, let's be real. Me and him got to travel back to Delaware, or such and such got to go, what's the name? You still need the roads. What, you saying you can't fight the jurisdiction stuff when you go to court? You understand what I'm saying? And you could, you know what I mean? And then again, when you...
Wait, Dr. Hannibal, I hear you, Ahmed Ra, we past that now.
Yeah, I know.
We in a whole nother rumbling ballgame.
Yeah.
With law and truth.
Right.
And that's what
so all I'm saying to you now
is a hell of a square, but it must be.
Yeah. So what I'm saying to you now, this is the importance now. We need to be about raising you officials You need to circle around the Emir. He don't need your adulations. He needs y'all to see this great seal structure.
There you go.
Come in like Brother John. He's sitting there, he's going to help a brother with the laptop. He's using his expertise. Such. So when you see this is what I actually thought the book was. The book looked like that. That's part of our old self-publishing books to show you. So we had it broken down so you can see the structure of your Moorish government, the offices, their duties, yada yada. And then there was, like you would say, there's Majlis, there's a brother that would be a Sharif. And under him, he would have muftis. That's your Moorish police. So there's a whole structure in that. You understand what I'm saying? So, again, so right now, this is what you need to do. Yeah, that's what I'm talking. That's what I'm talking. And it was a whole book, but it was made like that, and it had the actual pictures, the emblems that would go with it and what have you. So that was the old way that we got when we came in. This is what the older brothers was saying. But this is what Round Table did. We cleaned it up and we put it in book form. So, but right now, and again, I love the way you explain it. I'm not trying to tell nobody to go back. I'm just giving you backstory so y'all know. So this is the urgency now. We just don't need people just sitting there. You gonna step up. So the Emir don't need no adulation. The Emir we need working Moors. So the individuals that was around him when I stepped back, we should have been further. None of these other individuals should have been able to step up and usurp him in his office and made us look like a joke. They made us look like the funniest joke coming down the pike. We shouldn't even have no brothers in them, fakery, imitating our work and selling it to other people. Just like I said, you see the structure of the Nation of Islam, they'll shut down anybody that take their program and try to usurp it and try to make a fake, they'll shut that down. That's the way you Moors are supposed to do. And you the real deal. Your stuff ain't no religious thing. You political. This is government. You talk to the right people, you'd be surprised. And because of you acting right, they have you walking through doors and stuff you never knew.
Dr. Hannibal, would you go over the AA 222041?
Yeah. Again, I'm glad y'all showed this again. But this is what CMB, register your ID, your Zodiac Constitution, because it's actually 3 certificates. Because like I told you, you would correct your name, notary, remember I told you that earlier in person. Then you take that document, Resolution 75, non-authority, you go to Social Security, correct your name, Social Security. So now your name's corrected. When you're a brother, because you're coming in, this is your title. And this will be short. You would, and if it's a sister, and that would be before your first name and then your Bey or before your name. That would be on your Social Security. But then you have people that kept taking more names, and it's so ridiculous. All you had to do is just really tap it. First name, middle name, and last name. And if your middle name had to be long, you could just do like I did, had the initial, and had your base so it all fit on your Social Security. Then once you left Social Security, again, remember I told you when you go there, you have Resolution 75 non-authority with this certificate. This will be another Moor that will show with the ID. Then once you've done that, of course you always keep going back to the Emir with the documents because he had to sign and print it. Then the next thing he was telling you to go get $25 money order. And the $25 money order was for this. Because remember I told you 2 other certificates. The other one's for the Volume 1 and the other Volume 2, Clock of Destiny. And you would be sending that off, registered certified, to the Library of Congress. Sometimes it take a month, sometimes it take 2 months. But they would send you this. So you had your own copy. A certified copy of Charles Mosley Bey registering the Clock of Destiny, nationality card, and identification, and your Zodiac Constitution. So this was the certificate for your Zodiac Constitution and your ID. So then when you're dealing with these entities and you're explaining, we ain't no little panther, no, such and such ball game group or no gangs. So we real. This is the real thing.
And what's the third one? Clock of Destiny?
Yeah, Volume 1 and 2. You didn't see them?
Oh, it's 2 volumes.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. That's all they were. And CMB registered in 47. Remember I told y'all the story when CMB was young and Prophet was on the scene. They said the prophet would open the meetings, and he would say, before he would have the open meetings, he would say, circle 7, where are you? And so one day he said it, a young little, like they said, 17 or 18-year-old young brother named Charles Mosley, who became a member of Moorish, Charles Mosley Bey, he stepped forward, and he wound up being in the Adam chamber. Remember, I gave y'all the book to look. I ain't bring it back up here that y'all, what York put out, or Who's Noble Draw Lead. He's got the key people in the book that he's shown you. And remember, I told you there were 5 key people who were in the Moorish Science Temple under the Adam chamber of Noble Draw Lead. And York got that knowledge and at least put that out. He's got a couple of them: Father Divine, Daddy Grace, Prophet Cherry, Grand Sheep, Elijah Bey, a.k.a. the Lamb, Elijah Muhammad, and Charles Mosley Bey. And out of those 5, 4 of them became millionaires off the knowledge they learned from Drali in the Adam Chamber. And the beautiful thing in that book, or unless y'all gave it to the camera, they got to see earlier, he's got a couple of them. He divulged some of that truth in that book. York revealed that book back in 80 and then revamped it, which he did to that form in 1988. So that'll be available to y'all, and you'll see that I keep bringing up in the lectures when I talk about that. That's the book he wrote on Drew Ali, and on page 25, he said, "You're not Moabites, they just died off," or whatever. So then all of a sudden, then he grabbed, because I don't want to go into that. But anyway, you're not Moabites. Yeah, you know what I mean? So, but the point is, when you had this certificate to show, they respected that. Plus, you had a Moor that already went through there, elder, and usually Moors will always respect them. And then we had got to the point where some went to, motor vehicles. We were just backtracking, doing something. You had to correct your what's the name. But then once we had the momentum, then it would get to the point, you don't need that, because then your stuff is totally straight up. You could be like all the so-called indigenous tribes and have your own ID, and then people will recognize you. That's what we were leading to. So do some research on that. There's a brother, you think he would be a so-called black, but he is indigenous. And they can't come to Negroes and tell them they black. They have to talk to them they indigenous. And they have their own credentials, and the stuff is recognized. All they did is pick up kind of what us Moors do. But I don't know his name, but you can pull up on YouTube or somewhere, you can pull that individual up. But we were supposed to be on that level, because that's the last legal name we had. It's Moors. Everybody else was just tribes. So we were leading to that. And then, like you said, with all the resistance, we still had to keep moving forward. But had we had the body, you should be able to go right down your mirror, such and such. So Sarah Raha, sister, such and such. Such and such, this and that. I once had the office of Qazi, which was a Moorish magistrate, and such and such, such and such. And we all, y'all know, on a certain particular day, they had address 1235 Elm Street, yada, yada, yada. That's the Moorish Great Seal, Federal Building, whatever, da, da, da. We're supposed to even be like the daggone Jews, let you talk something sideways about them. And what is their hand of their group that come and get you to shut anybody down? The Defamation League, the Jewish Defamation League. We were supposed to have a Moorish Defamation League to shut this stuff down. We were supposed to shut that stuff down last summer when them daggone FBI promoted that BIE crap. But didn't I tell you, Nakeem, and I'm going to keep saying his name, gave you the death blow and took this off the registry. It wasn't like them FBI didn't know who you are. Then all of a sudden, that's what left it open for them to be bold to call you niggers by saying the word black. So this is the importance of why I'm letting you know how he hurt you when he took this off. There was no reason for him to take this off. So I trust I covered that. And I think there was some stuff I wanted to get into picking up from New York. But again, this is why I'm giving you the communications that y'all may call Masonic. But it was also part of your Moorish creed, because like I said, when you was in the Adam chamber, you got these basic things. That's what the Adam chamber is in. Don't get caught up with some Moors and be like, oh yeah, the Freemasonry secret stuff. Stop. If you are a full member in the temple and you're an Adam, try that with the regular members in the temple. Let them come knocking on the door at the temple on Tuesday nights. If y'all didn't know, that's an adept night meeting. A regular Moor who has not been initiated as an adept that will eventually be a grand sheik cannot come through that door if it's an adept meeting. And yeah, they got to say a certain password. And what happened? So see the link of what I'm saying here? So, but I'm giving you this because the elders had let us know, and it blessed me that I was able to walk through. And like I had told one brother, he asked me, which y'all didn't know, when one becomes a 3-3, the cord is cut. So if you're familiar with C.M. Bey's work, and you hear him saying, or he has at the end of his, what's his name, Charles Mosley Bey, PhD, LLD, 33rd, 360-degree, Master Mason, free Moorish American astrologer, and Moorish constitutional lawgiver. And what also pissed me off what York did, they weren't talking all that. As soon as he grabbed our work, he said he's the 33rd, 360, 780 degree.
Right. 720. Yes,
Well,
sir. Yes, sir.
but he bit our stuff. And anybody that gets to read the book I gave you, the Moorish movement, along with Freemasonry and other groups, was one of the groups he was attacking back in the day. Then all of a sudden you jumped on, so that's a charlatan. And then again, like I said, I'm a paralegal and also a private investigator, so I guess you can say I'm an adjunct officer of the court, whereas through my studies, when you got somebody that's got past 2 names, you really talking alias. Dude had over 5 different names, and guess what? He threw every one of them in his court case trying to get the heck of order. First, he was a chief, Indian chief of the Moors, he was Magi or something. Then he claimed to be a Liberian diplomat. He had another name. Brothers revealed the court. That's a con name. And then when I had told y'all, when somebody changed their religion past 2 times, and it's that many, I only had psychology 101 in college. That's schizophrenia. And darn it, peep this. I said that, and that was only in my cipher, my golden cipher, my few students years ago. Darn it, York's oldest son, Yaqub, got on the radio, and it's on YouTube, and got an interview, and he was talking about the newer brother that was his brother, his son, York's son, but it was his brother that was calling himself Prince York, trying to revive the movement. And he said, don't believe my brother, he was a little boy. When that stuff went down, he was no more than 3 or 4 years old, whatever. And he said, look, he got the problem like my dad has. He has schizophrenia. I said, I'll be darned, somebody prove. And that was his son. He can't get no bigger than that. I said, praise God, Lord. Because one thing that's good more is you ain't supposed to spread around no lies. And I was only going off my higher self. But his son said that. Y'all find that on YouTube. So then that's why I say after a while, you don't get to go after, you don't keep going after the leader. After a while, you blame the people. And remember what I told y'all earlier? And it didn't get recorded, but I said this last time at the end of the class. If this is a leader, and their moral code is down here or something, and these people are following, what did I say? You can judge the people by their what? Moral code of their leader. Or by their leader. Because there ain't no way, if you're really truly a man or woman of God, and you're going to get a person benefit Dr. People can't, spread lies. That's what COINTELPRO does. But this stuff wind up coming out to be truthful, and that person's moral code is not up to par, and these people continue to follow them, which you already know, and I'm telling you. Because I say it again. If these people knew you were Moors, you can't touch this and not know anything about Noble Drew Ali. If you talking about anything of Moorish Americans, again, you can't touch this in this day and time and not know who His Grace is, Taj Tariq Bey. And we will follow after him, my name, and Abdullah, and then also, which y'all don't hear much because they burned him out, Sage Hakeem Bey. You know him if you go on YouTube or whatever. He's under Mu Atlantis. That's another great SEAL member, and I love that brother. That's my colleague. He's another good brother, but people burned him out. He obviously probably did what I did. He fell in the back and just taught any few people that was around him. You know what I mean? But again, like I said, those individuals, when their leader went away, they could have took themselves and, like I said, you see a flowing river and it's going this way, but you want to know where that water's coming from. What common sense dictated? You want to know where the source of the fresh water is coming from, and you're in the river. What do? You go upstream. And if they were sincere, they could have went upstream, and we'd be seeing them walking through that door or Moorish Temple, whatever, and they would have made their way to the Moorish Temple of America and solidified us with greater numbers. And with all that effort these individuals was doing to take money away from people, we could have got a whole lot more things done. So I'm going to leave that and keep my stuff going, because remember, we're still on the second degree, and I just wanted to go into this to give you the importance of what I'm giving to you. I gave it to you last time, but all that we're talking about is leading to this, so you can understand what you have in your hands. And you know what I mean? Because again, I said to you that the reason why you get some problems with some of these entities, individuals, is remember I said that they're Eastern Stars and they're Freemasons, and they are paying high fees as dues. And you're sitting here to them, and from their point of view, getting pennies on the dollar, and then after a while, you were getting robbed. But this is why I'm filling it in, why the individuals that had no problem going up as high as a couple of grand, because maybe some of them were so-called Freemasons or whatever. And like I told y'all before, like you come in first degree, you paying $300, and then you might, depends on the lodge, your monthly dues is $20 something dollars. Then if you want to go to the higher degrees, you got to come up another $60, because you can either go York Rite or Scotch Rite. And if you want to go to get to the fourth degree to yada yada, that'd be $60 something dollars though. And after a while, that's another every quarterly due on top of what I just told you. You understand what I'm saying? And before you know it, by the time you hit 32, you're kicking out more, you're getting more dues. And if they want to get to the 3-3, you're talking thousands. So now if you're on their side and you're looking at this and they coming in, yeah, I'm sorry, and I'm listening. When you get pissed off too, and they're not taking it serious bad enough, the way you're taught you can't even wear your crown. Why do you think why the judge make sure he can't wear no crown, then nobody else can wear nothing in the house? Because in the lodge, the Moorish Diplomatist in the East, where's the crown? Which is the hat. Another symbol that represents power. Besides, like I told y'all, with the gavel. All right? So, now, the chapter 5, like I told you, is the second degree to Adam. And I said the main point is the stability. So when you're reading from the verses 14 down to 21, draw the little symbols there. Verse 15, that's the compass. Read that. That is heaven. You got the next one is the axe. This is verse 16. The next symbol is the hammer, which is verse 17. You know what I mean? And each of these have a symbolic reading. We'll go more into them in other lessons, but right now I'm giving you what is yours because it's part of your birthright and it's in your book and it's in your face, and you need to understand this. Now, for the third degree, the most powerful chapter is for the Master Mason. That's chapter 7. Now, there is a point in this book, our Holy Quran, which it gave you a formula at the end of this chapter. Now, for those who are out there, and you may be following in your Quran, page 12 of your Circle 7 Quran, the chapter 7 is the friendship of Jesus and Lamas, and Jesus explained to Lamas the meaning of truth. The end of this chapter is very potent, because we're going to go into circles. We're going to go into the Holy Quran, the Holy Court of Beth. And remember I told you the Holy Court of Beth is the mother of the Bible in the Quran. This was the book that was burned during the Christian Crusades as works of the devil. And the main message that the Holy Korbeth gives you is the Creator is telling you how powerful your thoughts are. So at the end of this chapter, going from verse 28 to 31, this matches up with another higher piece of the Holy Korbeth. And this book is called the Alzamade. This is the higher pieces that one will get once you become a grand priest or so. And I want to show you where it matches up with this particular verse in this chapter. And you're going to be like, oh, all right, bet. I'm going to read the Circle 7, chapter 7, for the Master Mason Moor. In verse 28 to 31. And this deals with your power to create. And the formula is right here. Verse 28 says, I'll go back some so you can read this. This is Jesus talking to Lamas. And I'll go as far as, I was thinking I should deal with 26. Maybe I might go back because I want to get the backstory with this. So they can understand. You know what? I think I might have to read the whole chapter so you get the understanding of it. This is the chapter of friendship of Jesus and Lamas. Jesus explains to Lamas the meaning of truth. 1. Among the priests of Juggernaut was one who loved the Jewish boy. Lamas Brahmes was the name by which the priest was known. One day as Jesus and Lamas walked alone in the plaza of Juggernaut, Lamas said, "My Jewish master, what is truth?" And Jesus said, "Truth is the only thing that changes not. In all the world there were two things. The one is truth, the other is falsehood. The falsehood that which seems to be. Now truth is aught and has no cause, yet it is the cause of everything. Falsehood is naught, yet it is the manifest of right. Whatever has been made will be unmade. That which begins must end. All things that can be seen by human eyes are manifest of aught, are naught, and so must pass away. The things we see are but reflexes just appearing, while the ethers vibrate so and so, and when the conditions change, they disappear. The holy breath is true, is that which was, is, and evermore to be. It cannot change nor pass away. Lama said, "You answer well. Now what is man?" Now this is going towards those dirty Moors who got into this movement and to the new ones, because you don't know. Jesus said man is truth and falsehood strangely mixed. Right there near your verse in my book, I'm going to tell you what to write. Draw these two symbols. Draw the symbol of the Ab-Al, which is the original name that you call the Hex Alpha, and also draw next to that the yin and yang. Because remember I tell you symbols mean things. This chapter is very heavy, and you will see once I get to the end.
Verse 13.
Yeah, that's verse 12. When I said Jesus said man is truth and falsehood strangely mixed.
You said draw what, brother?
Draw next to that as a reminder to you the Ab-Al that you call the Hex Alpha, or the Star of Dawood, or Star of David. And also draw the symbol of the yin and the yang. Verse 13. Man is the breath made flesh, so truth and falsehood are conjoined in him, and then they strive. And naught goes down in man as truth abides. Again, Lamas asked, "What do you say of power?" And Jesus said, "It is a manifest. It is the result of force. It is but naught. It is illusion, nothing more. Force changes not, but power changes as the ethers change." Verse 16. Force is the will of Allah and is omnipotent, and power is that will in manifest, directed by the breath. There is a power in the winds, a power in the waves, a power in the lightning strokes, a power in the human arm, a power in the eye. The ethers cause these powers to be, and thought of Elohim, of angel, man, or thinking things direct the force. When it has done its work, the power is no more. Verse 19. Again, Lamas asks, of understanding, what have you to say? And Jesus said, it is the rock in which man builds himself. It is the gnosis of the ought and of the naught, of falsehood and truth. It is the knowledge of the lower self, the sensing of the power of man himself. Again, Lamas asks of wisdom, what have you to say? And Jesus said, it is the consciousness that man is ought, that Allah and man are one. Did you hear that?
Yes, sir.
Aradia and man are one. Ahura Mazda and man are one. Yahweh and man are one. That is the message you're going to get when we go into the Holy Corvette. Verse 24. That naught is naught, that power is but illusion, that heaven and earth and hell are not above, around, below, but in which in the light of aught becomes naught, and Allah is all. Lamas asks, pray, what is faith? Here's the key thing we're going to talk about. Belief, faith, and fruition. That's the main point of me when we get to 28. Because then I'm going to go to the Holy Book back to back this. Pray, what is faith? Verse 26, Jesus said, faith is the surety of the omnipotence of Allah and man, the certainty that man will reach deific life. That verse right there is heavy as a juggernaut. Because remember the main lesson I'm telling you, those who already have the Holy Corvette and got lessons from me now, and as soon as you should have it in your hand, you'll be reading it. The main message, and I told you in our holy hitting faith, I say all faiths are basically teaching you one thing, whether it's the Muslims, Christian, Jews, Buddhists, to worship the God. I'll use the shorter word. Us Hittians, your old faith, way before you became Muslims. That's why I kept telling people you can read your history. The Christian Crusades, you know when Christianity, this is the timeline coming to here, the future, we're going back, and you know when Christianity began here, and then you're coming up, and then there was a certain period, and Islam, but you knew they were killing you way before then. That meant you had a creed way before that. And that's why I'm giving you. You were what they call erroneously the Jew. You were Hittians, but we'll say the Magi. But under our faith, and we were known in many lands. In Egypt, it was the Coptics. In Europe, the Druids. And here, they only just say the Native American Indian, what's the name? They were known as Hittians, but a lot of that stuff got burnt and lost. Under our faith, you were taught that you are God. And that is your goal to reach. You say this to any of these other people, they say that's blasphemous, especially the Christians. Oh, that's garbage. This stuff to God, you ain't supposed to know. But yet, I'm not a Christian. And I can go in this Bible and show you where the blessed prophet we're talking now, where he sits and told you when they was trying to stone somebody, and he said, well, because the person said something to the effect that they was God, and they wanted to try to hurt the person, and then Jesus said, wait a minute. Isn't it not written in these scriptures that all ye are gods? So, right. So if you're children of the Most High, then that same royalty or prestige is passed on to you. No different if your father and mother was a king or queen. What does that mean when you're born? Right. And then when you're a grown man, and unfortunately when this happens and the father dies and the mom dies, then what title do the boy and the woman takes?
King and queen.
See what I'm saying?
Yes, sir.
And that's what the other faiths fail to give you. The actual rituals of being God. Remember, I gave you the science. Some of you know me personally, and you got the lessons of Nova. You keep hearing me saying Nova. And I just told you the day the ritual came and went, the first. But then I had to remember to let y'all know what's coming up. Oh, also what's coming up. Yeah, May 1st. And also what's coming up too. Because now you're getting lessons from me, because you also know I'm a shell in the Great White Brotherhood. Members of the Great White Brotherhood, every first Sunday of a month is World Prayer Day. That we pray upon the planet of spreading love. We're focusing. This is universal. All of us is around. We're focusing love. I'm going to touch on that a little bit. So every first Sunday of the month, we would take our meditation. You call it meditation, but it's our prayer time. And we're linking up with other brothers and sisters universally. We're breathing in and absorbing and obtaining, we'll say retaining the God energy or the love energy. And then we project it outward upon the planet. But when I told you about Nalva, and some of you got the lessons, no more than about 7 pages. Soon, Dr. Nile will have that available for y'all to be able to purchase. But some of y'all who have the soft copy, it's simple. And I keep saying it to y'all, it's simple. You learn to release your spirit from your body. The basic exercise is if you have a house plant, you start with your house plant. Make sure you sit in a place that nobody will disturb you. If those of you who are married or whatever, and you sit in that meditative time to see and project yourself out. If that light will say, if that's the plant, and you do it properly, and you release yourself from your spirit, you should be in the plant, feeling how the plant feels, and then seeing yourself. And in the practice, you wind up doing it so much where you then start to bifurcate more. Start putting your body and your consciousness, so we say, in many other things. In the earth, the blade of grass, the granule, you even see the clouds. And this is part of the ritual that you keep hearing other individuals talk about. Oh, the Illuminati, the devils and all them. When I tell you about what I already gave y'all about the October 1st and I tell you 31st, and I tell you that's the left-hand paths thing. The real important day is November the 1st, because that's the apex of autumn. And I said God's energy is neutral. Hold up your hex out so people can see. Even the people on the left-hand path know that. God's energy is Peru. Remember I told y'all about Peru? Peru is the extreme point between positive and negative. That is your balance force power that y'all had lost. That's what that symbol represents. That hex alpha is the covenant between you and God. But that's also the symbol of you taking back your God power and utilizing it. And as I told you, we had Hittians that got this faith when it was almost found, it was 7,000 years ago, that did the ritual and became immortal. They are walking this planet. Well, that's if they decide to come on this planet to visit. But this is your birthright. This is part of your principality that you lost. And this is why in history, you, the Magi's, Moors, were respected by the kings and queens. Like I told you, kings and queens don't bow to no one. Everybody bow to them. But when we was in the house and they had us as their advisors, we walk up in, guess what they did? They bowed and kissed my hand out of reverence because they knew your priesthood was directly linked with God. They would, remember I told you there's 3 tiers in our priesthood, and people keep getting it wrong. The highest is the grand. These are different levels of our priesthood. I am on this level. I still have people I don't want to keep saying high priest. But in history, instead of them saying the grand priest, they would wind up saying the royal priest. You understand what I'm saying? But nonetheless, they knew we were correct. We were directly linked to the divine. We communed with the angels. And I told y'all before, once you get the Holy Corbett, you see it. Our low priesthood is called the low priesthood of man. The high priesthood is called the high priesthood of heaven. And the grand priesthood is called the grand priesthood of God. But you being here right now, you know the real name that I told you, what we call heaven. It's not what we call, it's actually what God called it. It's called Akkad, a.k.a. Or someone say Akka, but Akkad. And you already know the Creator's real name, which I told you is Aradia. And your ancestors asked the Creator, they said, what is your name? And the Creator, before he even gave it in the Holy Corbett, they said, gentlemen, he said, you call me by many names. And the Creator was saying, it's all good. But because you asked, I'll tell you, I call myself Aradia. And all it means is the thought. And yet you have secret organizations that play the game of God's name is inevitable, so we can't say it because you can burn up and poof. No.
Of the low priesthood of man, the high, the grand priesthood of God, and
the high priesthood of heaven. So I want to go into that because, again, verse 26 is really heavy. You imagine all the meetings and my second temple that I'm a part of in Glassboro, they do active study. Sad thing is they don't have the meetings like they're supposed to in regular time. They only have it during the Sunday school hours, which is 2 to 4 on Sundays. That's it. But the good thing is they do their lessons, they read a chapter. They'll pick a person out of the audience, and they go right down the line and let you have a turn, and then they'll ask you for your definition. So it's kind of active, but like I always tell y'all, most go to different temples, they learn differently. But look at the many times individuals read this verse: faith is surety and omnipotence of Allah and man. The certainty of man will reach deific life. Meaning, in another way, I'm saying you will reach Godhood. And this is some of the secrets that I'm giving you. And I want to touch on it. Verse 27, salvation is the ladder reaching from the heart of men to the heart of Allah. Here's the point that I'm getting to because I had to give you the backstory. Here it is, 28. It has 3 steps. Belief is first. And this is what man thinks and perhaps is truth. 29. And faith is next. And this is what man knows is truth. 30. Fruition is the last, and this is man himself, the truth. Belief is lost in faith, and in fruition, faith is lost. And man is saved when he has reached deific life, when he and Allah are one. Now I'm going to the section of the Holy Corbett called the Azamade, and I want to go in on Surah 34, which backs up with beautiful brother, distant cousin, Prophet Noble Drawing revealed to you that I'm reading to you. Mind you now, we're reading the Master Mason's chapter of the Moorish rite. Now here's what that says with that formula. Because see, in our faith, we give you the formula. We give you the rituals. It's just a matter of you doing it, and you can eventually become a god. Surah 34. This is dealing with belief, action, and faith. Said slightly different, but it's the same. You have been told that whatsoever you desire, you have the power to get it. And so you do. Belief is the first step. You must actually believe you can get what you desire, and your powers will work. Your powers will only work if you have the belief that you indeed have the power without the slightest doubt. Let me stop right there real quick. Remember I told you about Darren Brown? Yes.
Islam, what book is that?
This is the Al-Zamadeh. This is the higher piece of the Holy Corbett. The Al-Zamadeh, to give you a backstory of it, because she's asking me because of people from the TV land out here that's viewing this. This is a book that was given to Prophet Osiris. You know, I already told you he's the founder of our faith, so I'll read the front part. After Osiris had first gone to the Arabian temples, the Holy of Holies in Ramasajabi, the Divine Spirit Hatu. So the Divine Spirit Hatu gave this. And visited him and told him that even amongst all the teachings he has been thus far, amongst all the teachings he had thus far and teachings yet to come, that even new ways to the perfect accord are opening all the time. Hatu told him that he was bringing him yet another way, as there were many ways, and that this was still another way. But that this way was to be in a small book separate from all the other parts of the Holy Quran. That's basically saying. And was to be used by all the high priests who wished to pursue this way as well as all the other ways. This book was later shortened to simply be called Al-Zamadeh. The Al-Zamadeh was destroyed in the libraries of Ramasajabi, that is the India area, in India, Alexandria, and Rome. However, a few copies were hidden away until more modern times. So that's the backstory so y'all can understand.
Can you spell it? Al-Zamadeh. Can you put on the board?
Oh, yeah. Now, this is to ask me to spell it. And remember I said I'm keeping everything simple, and it's going to be more clear as time goes on, and the Holy Corvettes are printed up. But remember I tell you we're using your old language, your Lemurian language. Because you asked me, I'm giving you the Lemurian spelling, but I'm giving you also the phonetic. Now the accents and all mean a certain way, but here is the phonetic way of saying it into our language. This is the Lemurian way, and this is what is translated. All right, and all it means is to the perfect accord. And again, I have to keep reiterating because this is your ancient faith, and no one's coming out of secret orders to give you all these secrets, and I'm the only one telling you. You may be writing this later on, but it depends on how far you go, how much y'all really want this. And I will see who wants to be initiated because I'm going to need to build. And Dr. Nile said, hey, come on, let's do this. And y'all ask because this is also part of the Great Seal, also part of, to solidify, yada, yada. Part of our lessons is to know the Lemurian language because had not our ancestors, so those who have the Holy Corbeth in your hands, remember I showed you on the borders, someone asked, here's another higher piece of the Holy Corbeth, I'll let you say, but it means another name, but it's the Holy Corbeth. This is Lemurian writing. Your ancestors had to write the Holy Corbeth in Lemurian when the Christian crusade, when the Christians were hunting them down. So at least when they caught a Hittian Moor, or especially had Europeans that were Hittians, they would get it, but they would see all these symbols and they couldn't translate it. Nonetheless, they still burnt it as works of the devil. So that was the only way that we was able to preserve this Holy Scripture. Because it was up for them. And this is where one of the elders had said, if it was up to the Catholic priesthood, you would even have Freemasonry. And so this is where you kind of thank Abraham Lincoln L. for setting it up, for what I heard from an elder, that you have Freemasonry tied to the presidency seat. Because they said they at least have to be a Freemason to sit on that seat. And you more sitting here already know, but I'm going to say it for the sake of those out there, is because we all know now that anybody that sits on that throne, there are now access to secrets which make this government run. A lot of stuff that the common folk don't know, and you Moors are part of that secret, the book that they open up and they, you know what I mean? And of course, again, I know you understand, but for those who out there, they don't understand. You Moorish American, beautiful Prophet Jurali broke the Roman seal. We already know the story, but I'm saying this for the sake of those out there. When he came on the scene, they tried to block him. This is why I tell y'all about seeing the shadow. So I want to go into giving you some of the science of mental influence. These are your things that your religious leaders in the higher cipher circles in each group, they know some of these things, but they're keeping it away from the masses. This was common to you. This is what the jewel on your turban represents, or the jewel on the top of your fez, meaning your third eye was polished. You know what I mean? So, I don't want to go on tangent because I want to get back to the Elizabeth though. But anyway, the Lemurian alphabet and things, I'm going to wind up teaching because there's formulas. So not only with the seals, there are certain words you'll say. Like for instance, I did want to bless y'all anyway because y'all never heard Lemurian. So I would say a Lemurian prayer that is a power. So you can hear this. That's a prayer that blesses an individual when you waking up. I'm going to give you all the rituals to go with the power chants I gave you. That is a means of setting a prayer to make sure you have a perfect day, if you will. It's going to make sense. But you have a lot of Lemurian rituals and what have you. I'm one of the Magi that I recognize that they said, well, once you get to a certain point, your talismans and things like that were just tools. And you should then get to a point of to say that I am the power, I am the might. Remember the joke I said some weeks ago? I said, if you're dealing with somebody acting ranky, you're not going to say, oh, you're not giving me what I want, and you ain't going to bust out no damn chalk and start drawing a circle in the middle of the bank talking about doing your ritual or whatever it's going to work. You know what I mean? So the stuff I'm saying to you, whereas I'm giving you the power chance to build your power. Matter of fact, I meant to ask y'all. See, a lot of people didn't turn up. Remember when y'all first had me here? I gave y'all the hypnotic gaze training. How many? And I told you it would take a month. Any of you done it? If not, I'll go back over it again because I know some of you are new. I don't think you got it. I will go over it.
Still need the very end of that.
No problem, because I made sure I poured it. Because I'm going to go over it because it's going to lead to everything else.
What time is it?
Huh? So I'm going to go into that. But I'm saying, yes? So what I'm saying, that we give you the training to build your God power. So the people that you see in ancient history that's doing magical things or whatever, this is why those outside of our faith apply this word to us. Because you are like the magicians. but because they wind up seeing you doing miracle things like, oh gosh. And they couldn't call you people doing works of the devil, which they did to Jesus, because you were holy people. And you had a sacred order. This is why they darn near erased you from history. But one thing, daggone thing I can say about them Christians, they respect you. That's why I said there's days that you need to recognize, Moors. I told you the holy days. Now I just gave you the other days. That's going to come up, the 9th, the 10th, the 9th, the 11th, and the 13th of May. Those are called Memorial days. You don't believe me? Look on your lunar calendar. Look them up. These are days y'all not aware of. Y'all need to be aware of this. You know what I mean? So y'all missing out on spiritual energy. Like I told you, January 6th. You got Christians that's below the equator. They Christians, but they don't believe in no fat European man with no red suit on to give them gifts. They believe seeing a picture of a brother with us, melanated brother with a fez or a turban on, giving them gifts. A Magi. Don't believe me? Me and the brother talk. We talk about the South American sisters and all that, whatever. Find the South American brothers and sisters, because I know a lot of you do different things. And you talk to them. If they're a newly made American, and ask them how they celebrate their Christmas. They celebrate it for one, January 6th. And then they call that day 3 Kings Day.
2 days before my birthday, but
See what I'm saying? And that's 2 days before Prophet Jarlik's birthday, January 8th. Well, y'all, you know what I mean? So, let me keep this going. So I want to finish reading it. It's Alzheimer's Day. Even though it's a little high, but I want to, give y'all a taste, because it's been a long while since y'all had somebody that really loved you, that gave you higher knowledge, sacred stuff that's not discussed. This is usually in a sacred order. This is usually talked on y'all keep saying Masonic, or maybe some Illuminati level stuff that you never hear. So let me go back. Again, this is the Ask of the Alzheimer's Day, and I gave that and gave you back history. This is just a higher piece. It's just another piece, but it's still an adjunct piece to the Holy Corvette. This here is a book that's usually definitely only given to the high priest, and this is, to us grand priests, this is called the Holy Ray Beth Il. All it means is also of the Creator. And it's full of different questions, spirits, different good questions like why we got water, or a lot of water on the planet. What is the name of the plants? The plants call themselves octorectograms. Gives you more history of Atlantis and all this other stuff. So this is stuff that's going to be down the line. But anyway, I just want y'all to be available so you can hear and see this, because again, this is what some of my students, they laugh, but they're happy for y'all, because they had this exposed to them for the years that they had me privately. And so, one of them did encourage me to at least drop a little bit to make sure they get a little taste, so they can also see beyond the Holy Corvette, which y'all getting in the rituals, so you see the value of it. And a lot of stuff that I'm telling you in the trainings that I'm giving you, people have spent thousands of dollars, and I'm going to make sure I go over now, because I brought my thing for the verse that you say with the third eye. We're going to go with the hypnotic gaze. I'm going to give it again. This is a great secret that usually people pay $1,000, but you still got to put time in. It's a whole month training. All right. So let me get back into the Alzheimer's Day to show you about the proof and the power of belief, action, and fruition. Now, picking up where I left off, it said Aurelia was able to create because Aurelia believed she had the power to create. If she had the slightest doubt that she could not create what she desired, she could not have created what she created. Belief in yourself is the first key to all you desire. Beloved cherub Dr. Nyla and I was talking a little bit earlier today before class. We sometimes got to steal a moment because she's busy doing what she's doing, but she took a moment because we was kind of worried that the transportation of me getting here almost didn't happen. But I was blessed to come from another brother living with me, so he brought me in. But we wind up talking among ourselves. We talk about everything. And we were talking about the image of self. So here's the secret. Again, belief in yourself is the first key to all desire. Remember I tell you about the story about Darren Brown, the European who was taking cuts of paper, white sheets of paper, and buying jewelry, and I told you pull the video up to see yourself, and he buying fish and stuff, but he put jewelry with it, and he was using your wake state hypnosis. And there's another video he did where he went to a dog track and told a guy, he said, I used to do this, but I don't come here no more. And he told him, all right, we're at the dog track race. He said, now pick a dog that you know is going to lose this race, that you know is going to lose. So he did it, and the dog lost. He said, now watch this. Took the ticket. It was a losing ticket. Went over to the daggone counter and came back with money. Because he used your art of Maya, or you call Maya, that the Europeans rediscovered and called it hypnosis. First they tried to call it mesmerism, they called it hypnosis. And everybody else is using your science. That's another thing we're going to go in tonight, too, what I'm saying, the influence. So, the other part of that story to tie into what I'm saying, so he said, now do it again. This time he lost. He said, but this time I want you to do it. And he said, when you go up there, you tell them, this is the winning ticket. He said, but when you tell them, believe it deep down in your soul when you're saying it. You hear the key? So what I'm saying is pull up Darren Brown, pull that video up, but I'm giving you the key understanding in that. And so he was telling him, believe deep down in your soul. Because here's the thing. When you're dealing with these entities, or you're just talking to regular other people, when you're talking, you're just like what I'm doing right now. All I'm doing is giving you an idea, and I have to communicate clear enough for you to comprehend it in order to accept it. That's the same thing that you're doing with other people out there. No matter if it's a subject of jurisprudence, regular business, yada yada. This is why it's taught in Freemasonry to learn the 7 liberal arts, and one of them is rhetoric, which means the effectiveness use of words. Study that. Respect words. Like you already know. That's why you're here. You ain't let nobody call you black because you know what black means. Science, according to science, means death. But also it means nigger. You ain't that. Just like you know your children. You don't call your children kids, and you don't let nobody call your babies kids.
That's right. That's right.
Kids are a goat.
Or mischievous children.
See what I'm saying?
Yes.
And like I always keep saying, I said, what's the symbol that's used to depict the animals, to depict the devil? And I said, well, what do they say goat? And I said, now what does a goat have? Kids. And I said, so then when they sit up there and turn around and start killing you and beating you up, then don't be pissed. You keep calling them in roundabout ways, calling them demons. Words have power. But they even have more power mainly when you put thought or belief or intent behind it. All right? So now, like I said, when he told him to go back up to the window, of course the guy didn't do it. So then he stepped up and he used your science. Remember I told you, when you want to influence somebody, you make a sharp sound. He made a sharp sound. This is the dog you're looking for. We came to this window because you knew you would help us. And then the woman re-scanned the ticket as they know she's paying out. Remember what I told y'all? Part of that is if you want to drop your suggestion in someone's mind, when you're communicating with them, you got to play it off though. Make a sharp sound. Remember I told you your brain waves, we're going to go into that real quick because I'm going to put that on the board. And I said your brain waves cycle certain patterns. Like we'll say your conscious mind, brain waves per cycle is 30 to 13. All right? And that's your beta brain wave. So when you sit there and make a sound, a sharp sound, it disturbs it. Kind of like, you know how they had a EKG thing or whatever, the sound, and they have it up on the screen, and the thing will go up if it's a sound made, and I'm talking, and it goes, yeah, so that's basically what's happening with you internally. So then if you're in a conversation, you're trying to influence somebody, I'm going back, when you see the video of Darren Brown, I'm breaking it down for you so you can understand. So when he went up, the guy was at the window, the woman was here, behind the thing, and Darren was standing next to here at the end part of the frame. And the guy said, this is the winning ticket. And she was like, no, this don't win. And Darren walked up and hit the frame, and he hit it loud enough where this is the dog you're looking for. So what that did, that bypassed everything. The dog she was looking for was the one you're supposed to look for a winning ticket in order to pay out. But he crunched it down. Remember I tell you, you got to crunch your suggestion down to a very, and she's paying out, but I want y'all to see it. But I'm breaking it down to you, and then I'm building y'all up, giving y'all the basic tools, and you build from that. All right, so you're working it. So it'll get back to the way it used to be when Europeans seen that fez on your head or that turban. And they definitely hear that ill or bay or whatever. All right. Because they knew, the stuff that you see in them daggone Sinbad movies and stuff and what have you, you did that.
Yeah.
You did that. That's no fantasy. That's what I'm trying to get you to understand. And I'm trying to bring to you the tools. All right. So here's the other part. It says belief in yourself is the key to all your desires. The next step, it says going forth and actually putting your powers at work is the second key. The third key is faith, that knowing what you put forth will manifest itself. 3 important ultimate points. These should be your notes you're putting in your circle 7 on chapter 7. What I'm telling you, I'm just reading this, your higher teachings, just backing that up. It says again, the third key is the faith that knowing what you put forth will manifest itself. 3 important ultimate points. 1, belief. 2, action. 3, faith. If you use these 3 ultimate keys, there is nothing you cannot do. There is no task or desire you cannot fulfill. There is no limit as to how far you can go. All right. So again, that is explained to you. It's said to you twice. Verse 26 at the end of that in circle 7, man reach deific life. That means you reaching God. They ain't talking about no spooky dooky, somebody burying your body in the earth. And deific is God. Being a God, you can't be that when you dead. You talking about you reaching that in your flesh. Like I told you that no one will really tell you. Their ancestors that are alive that got these teachings when the prophet was first founding this, and they are still alive. They are immortals. And like I told you, Homac Poe, who wrote, he was the only ascended master or God, person that became a God that only wrote a book to tell you how it is. All right, so I had to give you all that, and I got to touch on, I wanted to touch on the articles of faith to give you all a little bit of our articles of faith, because I know I touched on the history, but I needed to give you a little bit of the articles of faith because people must know this. Whenever there is a religion, there is always an article of faith. Just like a lot of people are familiar because of Christians, because they, ruling, damn near wiped out everybody else. But even in the Muslim faith, that's those who are sincere, they will show you. Well, I'm only going to read one because I want to get into the Holy Corvette. But we actually have about 30, about 30 articles of faith. But here's the first one, and this will give you an understanding where we're coming from. And as time goes on, y'all will get this lesson. I gave the sisters article of faith. Article 1, and this is what we believe, us Magi believe. Believe in positive action, positive thought. The Creator set up a perfect balance of positive, negative power and gave man this power. What did I tell you that power was? The perfect. And it's a symbol that represents our covenant. What did I say this basically represents?
Seal of the Creator. Oh, no. Paper.
You already know this is the positive representing, and this is the, but what is not talked about is the mid part, the extreme. What is not talked about is the extreme power that binds the positive and negative energy, which is Peru. which is paper. And notice, remember I also told y'all for due diligence to go and look up what they call pre-Islam. And I said, look up the brother who was also part of our faith. So when we gonna open the window or anything? I know it's gonna get warm. I know it's gonna really get warm when I get to the point. When I told y'all look up Zoroaster, and they have basic 3 principles that is in their faith that is very simple, to always be positive thought, positive action, positive deed, whatever, but look that up and you'll see it. So let me start the sentence again. The Creator set up a perfect balance of positive and negative power and gave man this power, but asked him to only use the positive part of this power to gain all his desires and goals. If we think positive thoughts and do positive action, only positive things will come to us. Just to merely think of positive thoughts will generate positive things toward us. Bliss and happiness will be ours. To do positive things will create action toward us. Article 2. An open mind and a desire to learn. We must have an open mind to receive knowledge of things long hidden from us, of things not yet known to us, that will better our lives, that will give us a much happier outlook on life. We must want to learn new things that society has long rejected as arcane thought, arcane knowledge, and which most spiritual leaders and teachers have held as godly knowledge only, not for man to hear, but for which indeed the Creator would want us to know, and which is our right to know. Hear that? Right to know. That means that's your birthright. Article 3, understanding and acceptance. We must open our minds to understanding of arcane things, arcane knowledge, long hidden, and accept the teachings as the teachings which the Creator wants us to know. I'll stop there because I want to get into the Holy Quebec and pick up where I left off. I believe I had stopped at Surah 30. This is weeks ago, but I'll open up by recapping on some of the things. I read the first part of the Holy Quebec, which all Quebec means is words of the Creator. That's all it means. And it opened up by saying the second part of the Holy Quebec was in, the second time Absaris was in the mountains of ancient Lemuria. While talking with the Creator, Aradia, he told him to transcribe on stone, bark, sheaves, and leaves, all the things for which Aradia wanted humans to know. I'm going to stop that real quick. I had told him more, I think it was you, brother beloved Eric, where I said we must understand this history, that you have this under so-called Native American history where the European reverends and missionaries came and talked to our chieftains and historians, and we would call them wisdom keepers. They're the persons that kept your history. So this is a so-called Indian history in the colonists. The Europeans, reverends and all, was like, all right, wow, trying to befriend us and whatever, trying to start up a little church. So they told our wisdom keepers, our chiefs, they said, when one of the pieces of our history was told, they said, wow, this is your history, and we had hundreds of thousands of tens of thousands of years of history on what I just read to you, like sheaves of barks and leaves and what have you here. And then so that reverend, those Christian ministers and all said, you know what? Bring me all your history. Bring me all your history. So we bring our ancestors. Remember, we ain't know nothing about the sea. Brought them our hundreds of thousands of years of our Moorish Cherokee history, whatever you want to call it, Algonquian, Nash, all that, and the Europeans just threw them in the fire and burnt them. And you already know what the rest of the history had. We're the result of it. See, Father says this, the Christians do this. Whenever they go, they send a missionary. The missionary survives, guess what they do? They start to send word back, then they start building their churches. Once they build their church, they start to convert their natives. Once they do that, then they start bringing some more of their people. And once they do that, a lot of them is armies. Then once they're there, then they start building forts. Then once they do that, then they build up the army. Then after that is bloodshed. what I just told you, in short, what they have done to every Moorish civilization on the planet, different continents on the planet. And Father said, that's right down the list. That's their formula that they use to defeat you. So the piece that I just told you, that's what they did here. And you know who also said that? Look up David Childress. He was being, this is a European. I got a VHS tape. Beautiful brother John said he's going to help me with a lot of stuff I got to preserve. I got audio cassettes. I got what's his name? He probably writing books and stuff, but we was following him in the 90s. I got an audio cassette that's about over 3 hours long of him pulling up your old Moorish history stuff. He even had the projector and stuff and the artifacts. He was saying he was getting stopped at the airport. They hardly wouldn't let him in. Well, he was bringing up the history on how he had to admit his ancestors damn near wiped away your Moorish history. He just told, he said what I just told you, gentlemen. He said, yeah, you know, his ancestors tricked our ancestors and through all our history was burning. Just burning. But look him up. A lot of his stuff is probably on YouTube now. Same thing with Frank Joseph. Frank Joseph, a European, back in the late 90s, I got a video of him. And that needs to be preserved. And he was a reporter. I ain't seen that video, it could be 20 years now. Because that was the time we got him. And Frank Joseph had a lecture and all that. And damn if you seen like one or two pheasants sitting in the audience. And he was lecturing on Lemuria. And guess how he opened it? European. He said, well, this is history of Lemuria and all, you know, and I hate to say, but he was generally telling the people that he knows that they're Lemurians. He said, I don't want to use the word black, even though he used the word black. But he came out of his own mouth that this is a European telling you you're descendants of Lemurians. The video is not that long, so it's about an hour, little research. But he said he was actually doing a report. But he got to the point he was pulling up so much great illustrious of Lemurian history and stuff. He decided to do his little report, and it wound up taking him on lectures and stuff. And then it pissed me off. I'm like, and we got a Moor sitting in the audience. Fez just blaring and stuff. And you got some European telling you your history. But I was happy because that was the late 90s, so that was 20-something years ago. And at least let me see that I wasn't the only person saying Lemurian. While everybody else was saying Moor, I'm like, yeah, but y'all talk about Yaqub, and y'all keep saying Moabite. You don't know about, you became Moabites and all that after the experiment. You were Lemurian. That's who you were when you came to this planet. Now that you're all getting the Holy Court Beth, it's going to be a point where I start getting into the history of when you came. And that's who was basically the two nations that was on the ship. Was Lemurian and Amagian. I'm going to write it here on the board so people can know, for those out there in TV land. And those who got the Holy Corvette, you already said you got, so that's good. And then I know some of you out there are going to want to get it. Yeah. Now, the Amagians were the father nation to us Lemurians. But they were the basic main nations that was on the spaceship. Now, this is covering with beloved Brother Troy and I was going back texting, and we couldn't get to talk because I had other people, but I was able to text him. And I said, all right, I will cover it real quick so you'll know. How many of you have the Holy Court Beth already in your hands? You got it. Because I know, the sister has some prints. I don't know if she has any left, so that's good. Those who don't have it, see if she has any, get some for classes over. But you'll read it. At least this first part of this section, the 13th chapter, is heavy. Now you'll find out there were different sub-tribes. And we were mixing when we came here, but mainly it was Lemurians that was already here. The landmass that we landed on was this landmass. The poles were different. All right, the polar shift was different. So then you also will hear the land of Pan. That does exist. And even the Europeans know that when they went and dug deeper into the ice up there in the Atlantic or Arctic, they start pulling up greenery. You just put, remember I said the pole shit. All right. So anyway, we had other sub-nations when we were mixing. And one of them was the Jara. And this is what I had said to Brother Troy when him and I, beloved Sheriff Troy, we were texting each other. And I said, I'll touch it. The Jara were a quiet but very studious nation. They were the first to occupy the landmass off our coast. We here, y'all over there, but we off the coast of the East Coast. They were the first Atlanteans. They started the Atlantean civilization. They were the Jara, J-A-R-R-A. All right? And going back to the story of Adam and Eve, because you can see it in the Holy Quebec, but I have to break it down to you. I told y'all the story about Yohad, who was the captain of the ship. And there was a insurrection in the middle of the night. And no, I'm not going to get into it. Pick up. I know I'm not going to get to that part. And he had a first mate or whatever. They have the captain, then you have the lieutenant and all that. Well, the lieutenant, his name was Luxor. What I am telling y'all, I mentioned this to you before, but once y'all have the Holy Quebec, I'm expecting y'all to have questions, and then you should be able to read that part and say, oh, this is what Hannibal was saying, because it's written in it. That they got tired. Our ancestors had traveled from our home planet E, and they on the spaceship. By the time we got here, the backstory real quick on Earth, Earth was occupied as a prison. So this is why you get some Europeans keep playing in that UFO site, but they're telling you little bits and pieces of history, but they're mixing people up. All those galaxies and us, we dumped our dregs of society here. And if you leave the people alone, even though they were lowly moral, they rose in technology. And what happened, they damn near blew themselves the hell up. So it was barely a good 50 people left. They knocked off, wiped off the majority of everybody. And someone was living in the caves, and they had polluted the air. So by the time our ancestors came here, and this is those who's coming from the Nation of Islam, you hear about the mothership. You always talk about this was a mothership. So now all of us are sitting about 300,000 or so on the ship. A lot of people are mumbling they want to get on the planet. So Captain Yohad took an Almagian scientist named Obam. Again, please, beloved Troy, if you can, talk to the sister so you can get the Holy Quebec. You don't have to take too much notes. I mean, you take the notes because then you can transfer it to the Holy Quebec, but you can read it, you know what I mean? And I know you'll hit me up, in the week. So he was the scientist that it was his job to then walk the landmass that they're going to later on name Amagia. That's the landmass you're on now. And he was the scientist. This takes you now to Star Trek. Remember I told you, the governments, had passed laws that they got to tell you the truth, but they never said how they have to dispense the truth. And this is why Hollywood keep bringing you out all these fantastic space movies and stuff. They're going through your old Moorish history and putting them together in scripts and selling it back to you. And by the time you figure it out, they done ching and went to the what's thing. And then remember, every time they keep showing them figures, they sit up there, Brad Pitts and John Travolta's and all, knowing damn well the original people, the star child was deeply melanated. So, his job was to get the data, find out what landmass you can live, what edible plants, what was edible, what wasn't. Stuff that you see in Star Trek. So, Yohad would check in on him. So one of the things that he found out that you should eat, and anybody who deals with this so-called Native American history and some of the culture, especially those who get high all the time, they know about the mushroom, the peyote. That's what the apple, the story of Adam and Eve. Because Obam, O-B-A-M, was the Amagian. He's the one that's your Adam in the story. So people, the Christians made a variant on that story. So Yohai deemed it that, we're not going to eat this. But just before then, Obam kept doing research and what have you. He wanted an assistant, so he, chirped back, hey, can you give me an Amagian scientist, a woman of my nation, as a mate? So this is when he then gives him someone that's also a qualified scientist from the Amagian nation, over. That's your Eve. So they both were doing their job, and in interval times, Yohad will come and check and see what's what, how's things going. So when Yohad, when he finally pulled up the peyote and Yohad deemed it, he said, all right, this is going to be something we're not going to eat. It's going to be forbidden. Because again, those who are familiar with the drugs and everything, the peyote and stuff will make you see thin. And then so what happened was, now getting back to, like I said, with Luxor and a few others was committing mutiny, they got a group of people that wanted to commit mutiny. They got tired. They wanted to come on the planet. So they started insurrection on the ship. And it woke Yohad up with some of the other loyal soldiers and all. They finally got them all together and he quelled the insurrection. And then what they did is their punishment, they banished them from our community. And he wasn't going to let them stay on the earth. So they gave them a spaceship and sent them out. And they go find another civilization. They weren't going to let them stay. So what they did, Luxor and his few bandit crew turned the ship around and landed not too far from Obam and Ola. And Luxor knew about the peyote, the mushroom, and convinced the girl, and then the girl convinced them, and that's why then when Yohad came, they all high the hell up, and he's admonishing. That's God admonishing eating the apple. But Christians changed it. Once you get the Holy Quran and you're reading it, I'm just surmising it to you. You know what I mean? And then so what Yohad did, he gathered, and Luxor was Satan. That's your Lucifer. And then so they rounded him back up again and sent him back out of space. And then so what Yohad did, he sat and contemplated and he compromised. And this is going to sound familiar to you, Moorish, who's been in the temple. And he said, all right, he'll compromise. But Obam and Ova had to be punished. So they really couldn't be among us no more. So they stayed in Amalgia. And Yohad and the rest of the Lemurians and all that was on the ship, since we had high tech, took machinery that we had that would cut through rock like butter. And that's the beginning of what we heard in the temples. I heard a little boy, there was an underground more civilization that still exists today, and that was the beginning of it. And they went underground. And a lot of them still exist today. They call you Hypnotics. You'll have that read to you, and as time go on, these books and stuff I'm reading, you're not like the higher pieces. It'll be when, if you're worthy and you get initiated, these will be in your hands. But for now, you get the lower piece of the Holy Book, and it's still heavy. But there's another book where it talks about how those brothers and sisters never fell in their spiritual development, let alone their technology. And they communicate with some of us who are upon the earth. They call you Hatakians, meaning the people who live above earth. But they know you're descendants of them, Lemurians. And they're so developed, they still kept their abilities. They sometimes telepathically communicate with a brother or sister who is spiritually developed. And in some of the other weird stories you hear of underground cities are going into interests in Mount Shasta. Mount Shasta is another sacred place. Remember I told you there's 7 sacred places upon the planet. So what I gave you in short, you read the Holy Korbeth, you will see it. So I want to pick up from verse 30 from when the last time when we were reading, it was 35, but I think I did read all that. Verse 35, or Surah 35. Remember I gave y'all the backstory also on Surah, where I said, this is a story you can tell the Muslim brothers. And I told you when Absaris was writing the Holy Korbeth, he had a scribe that was an Atlantean. And when he was then not talking to the Creator then assigned him an angel to continue dictating the Holy Korbeth and all the sacred writings of the saints and what have you. The angel would read off the surahs and say, truth. Like I'm going to read 35. So it's going to say, truth 35. When thou speakest unto me, shout over and over again, and thy voice will be heard, and thy quest shall be answered. So, in Lemurian, we didn't have a word for truth. Remember I told you when Absaris was writing, he was getting he had a scribe that was an Atlantean. So, In Atlantean, they had a word for truth, which was Surah. So that's a little tribute you can give to Muslims. Remember, their holy Corvette, their holy Quran has the word Surah in it. But now you're letting them know. So yeah, see how potent this is? And this is picking up when we left off, Surah 35. Again, this is instructions from the Creator. And it said, when thou speak unto me, this is the Creator talking to you, Moors, shout over and over again, and thy voice will be heard, and thy quest shall be answered. Now I want to draw this real quick so you can understand. When you hear people talk about chanting, so this will give you a little bit more understanding of the chanting. You know, because a lot of individuals come from Islam, or if not mainly Christianity, and they want to always talk about other individuals. Oh, they chanting that worship Satan stuff or whatever. One thing you will learn, words is power. There will be a point in the Holy Corvette that will tell you the highest form of words or letters is ah, a, ah, and o, what have you. They have higher vibrations. So when you're doing a prayer, which that verse just said, you're basically, if you're saying it once, it's dead, it's flat. But if you're repeating it, you get me when I'm going here? You're building a sound, you're building vibration, you're building a vortex that's going to go up to bring it to you. So again, now this makes you understand. I'm giving you the deeper understanding of Surah 35 in the Holy Corvette, page 4. When this is the Creator saying to you that you know it's Allah, says, when thou speaks unto me, shout over and over again, thy voice will be heard, and thy quest shall be answered. Because you're making energy. You're building. So that's why, so then when you do have a prayer, and I give you certain scriptures that you might use, Psalms of prayer, I always tell you everything you do at least in 3. Especially if you're doing a ritual and you're trying to do something. If I give you a ritual you're doing for court or something like that, and I say you do that prayer at 9 in the morning or whatever, and then try to do it 3 times again at 12, and then 3 times by the evening, you're building energy. It's not being dead. It's not just being words saying dead. Surah 36. He who seeks after a better way will find a better way. Surah 37. Know the truth, and the truth shall make you free. See where they got that from? Surah 38. If a man seeks a lie, he will not find truth. But if a man seeks truth, he shall find truth. Surah 39. What profit a man if he gains the whole world and loses his soul? See, now y'all see where this comes from.
Yes, sir.
And these were sayings that people would say. Now you know where the sorcery came from. It came from Holy Corvette. Surah 40. A fool and his money are soon departed, but money does not make the fool. See the other thing? See how people was using your stuff against you and made it sayings and what have you? Now you getting the source. Now you arming yourself. Now you done paid. You need the mic. The mic, bro. You done paid your debt. Now it's time for you to rise up.
I know time never was when man was not.
Mm-hmm.
And the question is, for the Holy Kabbath, can you give an age that this writing took place? So you have an age, the age of Atlantis and Mu, as a scholar in Baltimore, Isaiah Bunel, does a presentation on that. 50,000 years, and then Al Morocco 10,000 years ago, and then of course today. So
We
roughly
understand.
what time frame?
Yeah, from what we understand, our faith is about 6.5 to 7,000 years ago. So that's how far you're going back at Lemuria, and you'll find it's time for warning. We're reading this. Even the brother prophet of Sardis was saying Lemuria was kind of new during his time. So that's the time frame that we're working with. Because our faith, this is where we say our faith is the oldest faith on the planet outside of witchcraft. All right? So you want to go back. And then you already know C.M. Bey had said, what C.M. Bey had said, he uncovered the Europeans are damn near messed up about, almost 500 something years. This is why it's a little bit off, but this is the time frame. And you'll see it. It'll be worded. But that's good that you asked that. You know what I mean? But again, this goes with the teachings. Like I keep telling y'all, you have the Moorish flag, the Moroccan flag. And remember I told y'all, I said it was a time that it was white with a gold star in the center. So when we're talking about the children of Israel, just the same thing you're saying the Moorish nation, the Moabite nation. And this is covering that period. Because remember I told you the main symbol that represented us Magi, or we call us Magi, but us Hittians, and as I said, is a couple seals, but you already know the main seal that, right, what we call the Peru symbol. And then what did you know before you heard of Peru? You just knew that was the symbol of the children of Israel. Now you understand? But it's good that you asked that. Yes, beloved. Oh.
This is a question online. What are the responsibilities of achieving the degree of immortality?
Pandora.
The keeping the order, the perfect order of things as the Creator has set. You get pieces of it in some little movies or video games. It's like I love the video games, like Raiden. Somebody say Thor. Your job was you really kept, the balance of things of nature. When man goes wayward, and you being in one of the gods, if you heard their prayer, you come and answer, and you would kind of guide them. This then you're talking about one of Maya's favorite ascended masters, and I wanted to give y'all some of them too. Because remember I mentioned to y'all the Great White Brotherhood, and with the Great White Brotherhood, we did our world prayer, and under that we would choose an ascended master we would get teachings from. So here are some of mine, and this will start you off. It's not that I'm not going to answer now, I'm going to answer. One of them of my favorite is Serapis Bey. The other one is El Moria Khan. The other one is what you call Tehuti, who's known as Thoth or Thor, The other one is Tewa, the Blue Star God. Some people may have heard of him in other places, but we kind of give you a little bit more in the Holy Quebec who he is. And the other one is Homak Pole that I keep mentioning to y'all, that he wrote a book on. It's called The Other Side. And he's the only one to tell you how it is to be a god. So when you become a god and an immortal, you're almost like the angels. You're infinite. You hear things. You hear people when they pray. You know when it's in need. And it's your job, to, again, keep the perfect plan of things, to bring things in balance. I think I mentioned it to you before in the other classes, but I want to tell you now in this sermon that wait till I give you the list of all the angels. And when the Creator created the angels and had you, the angels went to heaven and complained to the Creator, Lord, they are getting on my nerve. They keep calling us for this and that. And then the Lord was like, all right. So the Lord kept creating more angels, and you had angels for specific things. The problem with us, what I'm saying you, us, our ancestors kept taking and looking at the angels as gods. You understand what I'm saying? And then out of that, giving them worship, and they were only there to help you, then came the different type of religions and cults and things. But that's when an ascended master, you're almost in the framework of an angel. You know what I mean? You hear prayers and stuff when you need to get balanced, or if somebody is on point and they're in the temple and what have you, you're visiting them and you're guiding them, you're telling them this is what you do to keep things in balance and yada yada and what have you. And if someone is trying to be like that ascended master or that God, they kind of give you directions, this is what you do, the other. So it's a big responsibility. It's on the lines what they asking is what I had told y'all more. It's so much more than what y'all think. All y'all keep talking about is jurisprudence, this, that, law, traffic, this, child support, that. Like, man, you're supposed to be doing some stuff where way more than that. Yes, hello.
Islam, is it also, and I'm just trying to think in terms of this person's question. In fact, we are immortal, but one of the things that we keep doing is becoming entangled in the karmic wheel, the cycle of coming back, doing it over and over again, instead of going to this higher level of being, if you will. Mm-hmm. So we are immortal. This is my response. But we have to get out of that, off the wheel, and start going up instead of going round.
Yeah, and part of it, some of the things I'm gleaning to you, and I know I'm giving you pieces because I'm so excited and I want you to know, but we're going to go into it. Like I'm giving you some of the rituals that changes your consciousness. And just like we was telling you in the Matrix, the body can't live without the mind. The mind makes it real. Remember when Neo and Morpheus came out of the chair, he was like this, and said, I thought the Matrix wasn't real. He was bleeding because he just fell off the building and what have you. He said, your mind makes it real. So when you change your consciousness, your body follows. Your body becomes a cosmic form. You understand what I'm saying? But here's the key. No one gave you the ritual. I'm not going to say I'm at risk, but I'm giving it to you. You're going to give it anyway. I'm going to give you enough, but it's going to have to get to a point where y'all going to have to take the oath, be, initiated and take on that responsibility. Because this same, what's the name that I'm giving you, this is what the left-hand path got their hands on. That's why you now have your demons and your minions and what have you. And like I told you, don't get caught up with the Christians and Muslims and all that, with Satan and all that. You created it. I'm telling you now, but as time goes on, you'll see in the Holy Corbett teachings and stuff, and I'm telling you, when you was falling from your principality of having your powers, we had a group of us Lemurians they were called the Satanists. They were the ones who created the demonic and gave them principalities. And then so as I told y'all before, Holmac Pole, the only Hittian immortal, wrote a book, which I have over here, that told you, he said, you're living in what we call the height dimension, because there's different dimensions, but the dimension that we're living in, he called it height. And he said, outside this dimension, there is no demons. So that dispels the lies that the Muslims and the Christians and whatever else saying, when God created this, Lucifer, the devil's. God is divine. God don't make poison, don't create darkness. You understand what I'm saying? Get that in your mind. So I just told you in short, but you're getting it. It's many different dimensions, but we're living in the height dimension, H-E-I-T. And he said, because once you become immortal, you travel to different dimensions. You travel, if you want to walk on Saturn, you walk on Saturn. If you want to just go far into space. Here's another thing that's going to blow your mind. I'm just going to give you a little bit of it so you can understand how deep this is. And when people say, when you think you know something, you really don't know nothing. They said in the palace of the Creator, beside the Creator in heaven, that you call Allah, there is its lake, and it's full of globes. And each globe is an equivalent to a galaxy that has millions and billions of lives. And it's a sea, it's damn near a sea of them. And within one globe is all the universes. And so when you hear about them talking about the theory of the black hole, what I am believing from what I read is obviously them getting to the point and then going into the other sphere of all the existence. I want to blow your mind a little bit with that. So this is give you a better idea of if somebody's saying that they are a God. Remember, this is considered a whole universe. Our little solar system, where we just a little speck in the whole bigger things. So this is kind of give me an idea if Brother Troy took these lessons and he did the rituals. He did everything. He became an immortal. He's traveling all the different galaxies, seeing all the different makes up of people that the Creator had made. The Creator said there's some that he made with the forearms. Damn if they put that in the daggone Mortal Kombat. Some people that had different color skin. But Brother Troy be traveling there if he want, and then he can also go directly to heaven. And if he want, he can go to all the other damn stuff that we can't even think of possibilities that they then gave you quantum, what they call quantum leap. Remember they showed us all the dimensions and stuff. Because guess what? Another thing it said. Just as well as you and me here, there's another dimension of us doing the same thing. See, I don't want to blow your mind, man. But this is how big this is, and this is why I told y'all, Moors, we got to get our stuff together. We can't let these people leave this planet because I said they might start something that they can't finish. But you Moors have to wake up because this is a whole lot more than what you think it is. You got old galactic treaties that must be reinstituted. Just because you sleep, but you're waking up, so it's beyond all this. When you think it past this is, at least give the Ashkenazis credit. They went past what their little problems are. Now look at it. They the heavyweights in Hollywood and got money. And anything that they go through, they manipulate people. Look, they stole Israel, they factored government, stole Palestine, set up Israel, and they manipulated the U.S. and what have you. But the point is, they learned about nationality real quick and power. This is what we need to do. But like I said, it's past all that. You'd be very surprised. It's past all that. If y'all get your stuff together, we would be sitting there talking to, like I told y'all to look up Valiant Thor. Remember I told y'all to look him up? He was a Venetian that came to talk with Hoover for 3 years, giving him secrets and all. You'd be talking, you'd be like him. One of us Moors, I'm pretty sure with Prophet Joe Ali, because we were only getting little stories here and there, he probably was doing stuff like that. He made it into the White House. He had to. Yes.
So I have a set of tapes I've had for several years, CDs, on the quantum leaping, and the author of the CD series is probably a gentleman now, maybe in his either late 70s or maybe 80s, and he understood how to, like I said, do this quantum leaping, and he would do what you said. He would leap into other dimensions and find his doppelganger in doing things that he wanted to do in this life. He would, for instance, find his doppelganger who was an accomplished artist and watch himself painting masterpieces. And I think he was like 60 somewhere or 70 when he came back from the jump and began creating masterpieces. And then he found his doppelganger who was an award-winning photographer in another dimension, came back and started doing all this stuff. And so he's teaching it. It's called quantum leaping. And I actually have it's about a 7 CD set where he teaches how to do that through, meditation and actually leaping and finding your double in another dimension, doing what you want to do in this one, and then learning that and bringing it back.
We won't talk. We won't, because let me say this, and that's beautiful to hear. Remember, I always give you visuals because you think in visuals, and I bring up movies that equate. How many of you remember at the turn of the millennium, 2000, 2001, Jet Li, one? If not, let me give you in short. He was a time cop, and they had Delroy, that Asiatic brother from Brooklyn, and they had the guy Statham, the English guy that they now made some action star. And they were time cops coming to get Jet Li, who was once a time cop. But he learned this theory. And remember I just told you, it said that there's another you. And they're talking about quantum dimensions, and even the daggone DC cartoon comics did that, where there's many different dimensions and there are many you. So going back into the movie, Jet Li was a time cop, but he realized, I think if I remember right, I'm gonna pull it out tonight to enjoy myself. He realized, I think he killed one of himself, and he realized he got to increase his power. So now he was a cop, and then now he's got a moral dilemma, but I got real strength. So let me break the laws. I want to be a god. So he went rogue and stopped being a cop and went to different dimensions and killed himself. And every time he killed himself, the energy went to the different selves of him in different dimensions, and they all felt it, and they got stronger. So now the movie begins, he's down to the damn last 1 or 2. And they got to stop him because they don't know. Remember, they still rediscovering your science of quantum leap. They just like, if he wipe out all his other selves, we don't know if this is going to cause a cataclysmic explosion. Meanwhile, or he can be such an immortal because it's only one of him in all the dimensions. Now he's an immortal. And it showed you in the movie where Delroy and them are chasing them. It starts out, he goes to the police station. And this particular world, the president was different from the United States, and himself, his other self was a criminal. And it is funky, the effects they had on it. Oh my God. They went to try to shoot him because he went and shot and killed himself, his other self. So obviously it increased his power. So now all the cops is like, because he's still on their precinct area. So I want y'all to see this movie because it's going in line with what I said, and then this Dr. Nyla, Sheriff Dr. Nyla has said so beautifully more, so I want you to get to understand what she just said. And these are stuff that we're trying to give you from our coffers, y'all need to know. But they put this in the movie, and I want you to feel this because this stuff is real. So, he went and shot and killed him. He was hiding in the vents. So finally he came out, and he's about to fight all these cops. Now take your mind into the Matrix. Dude moved so fast, he went up to one of the cops, kicked him like the Matrix. And anybody had the first Matrix movie, you remember Nairobi's character, when you did the focus, it slows time down. So now the cop is in the air sideways. Meanwhile, he's still moving fast. So it's going, he's halfway up, then he knocks him down. He's moving so fast, he's taking out the whole cop platoon. So now he laughed, he done knocked him out. Now he done killed. He just got one more he got to go kill. He's going to be the last, only one, and he's so powerful. Another demonstration of the power is now they chasing him with a car. He's running 70 miles per hour. Then they trying to get him at the light. He runs and jumps up to one of the high damn signs that's on the roads and hangs up there. They can't believe it. Here's the other thing that they did. He had 2 cops. He was down in the street. It's a little bit further in the scene. He had 2 cops on bikes. Came at him. He went and stopped them. Both bikes. Cops flew off the bike. You ever seen on motorcycle bikes? Boom. Then took the daggone things like they were Mattel toys and walked up to one cop and smacked him like he was a little 2 big-ass heavy bikes. You got to see the movie. So the theory is what Sister was saying. And me having this knowledge, gleaning this, and she obviously picked it up for her to go a little further at an example. So this is why I smile, because I had stuff gleaned to me, so guess what I have been doing the last some years? All right, I know what I want to reach. I've been focusing on my other selves in my other dimensions. And guess what? You can talk to yourself, they might if they're tuned. But that darn sure would be a great technique with the sister is saying. See how I'm saying? Was that person a European?
Yes.
See what I'm saying? They got your signs. You need to take that back. Because here's my philosophy. Now you're making me bring up my sign on all that I got now. I'm going to talk to you, my other students. If you focus on yourself, so now I'm giving you my inner, whether you take notes or you take a mental note. Suppose I know that there's 20 me's, know this, not all of you is living in the state that you're living in. One of you is very prosperous. In that dimension, everything is right for them. There's another dimension where you might be very poor. So if you're looking at in the mid, like myself, this is one of my private rituals. This is why a lot of people that know me personally, that's my students, they know I'm usually in rituals, so they'll know that I can't talk to everybody because I'm doing other spiritual stuff, but I'm also doing stuff for myself. But now I'm talking to y'all some private stuff that only me and my creator do. But obviously, because this beloved Dr. Chuck, she is bad. She bad. Brought that up. You need to know this now, because this is making your mind think. This is what I have been doing the past 10 years or so. Focusing on myself and talking to my other selves. You focus on me, you give me the enlightenment. We can better ourselves and be more powerful. We can change things, and all of us can benefit from it in each dimension. It's a little tidbit I want to drop there. See how we bring up stuff? Bad, sister. I'm glad you brought that, because this is stuff that we're talking about right now. Some of them went into the grave, but the other person I will talk to, and that's my father, but that's when I can catch him when he's not ministering to you all. So I don't probably have no one I can really discuss this with. And then I would only get so far with my other students. So this particular part that we're talking about right now is meant to be brought up for y'all to help you expand your thought of what you're dealing with. So that was a good question. Whoever that was that started the question, I say a healing to you. Blessings and love.
Brother Jose.
Brother Jose, blessings and loves to you. Because that led a domino effect of what y'all need to know. And it, you know what I mean? Because like I said, it's never a dumb question because it leads to other things. This is why the prophet had said, when I came, I'm the question and answer. People didn't know how to answer stuff, so he was not only giving them the questions, he was giving them the answers. And he had to give them more questions to get them to start thinking, because they didn't know where to go. So, but that right there is heavy as not. I guess when we get to that time, y'all want those who benefited, who's sitting here, or who be watching this, you will really appreciate what we just talked about the last 5 minutes when we really in it. I'm going into this, and then the sister's divulging what dude found it and got, and she's going to depart to y'all. And here's the kicker: when she divulged to y'all, that stuff that's about a couple grand. You know, it's worth that. People will hold that type of knowledge. And like I'm telling you, same thing with sacred order. I know brother's about to say something.
Yes, I'm trying not to interrupt you, brother. But I learned some years ago where, pertaining to the third eye, if you light a candle and you get a comfortable position in a totally dark room, if you watch that flame, and then for about 5 or 10 seconds, and then you close your eyes, as long as you focus on that flame, it'll remain in front of you. You can see it with your third eye, but you're going to close your physical eyes. If you let a sound like a car go by and you focus on that sound, that flame is going to drift at an upward angle, but you can bring it back in focus. You know, it's the thing of staying focused on that, you know, and you can actually see the flame with your third eye because your physical eyes are closed. Thank you.
7, 7, 9. Going back a little bit, okay? Because you didn't come. Remember I said we're giving you the actual training, so I'm backtracking a little bit, recapping. You do it 7 times, pause, 7 times, pause, 9 times. Because when you said third eye, we give you where you can operate. I got it written in, it's in lesson form. The sisters getting it, but y'all get it later on. Y'all get your hands on the Holy Corvette. So we're no longer going to be like the regular Muslims and everybody out there talking. Remember I gave you all the power chants? It's the power chant. There's more I'm going to write to you. The third one, let me do this real quick. This is to align you with the Creator. You want to say this about, I'll say three times. You can also say it about 5 times. But anyway, remember I told you, this is the chant to align you with the Creator. This is to build your cosmic forces here. This is said, ra, 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 ma, ma, ma. Excuse me, ra, 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 ma, ma, ma. R, A, ma, A. Now, next one. You said this is what I was really writing this for. this is to open your third eye. You can say that 5 times, but this is the ritual. Like I said, we're bringing you into your science, the secret science. I did this weeks ago. Get out of the way. I told you, you face east, and you're standing in the star position. I'm going to do it short because I'm not going to do it all. This is to align you with the Creator. So you're saying it 7 times, but it's going to be done like this. The right palm up, symbolic of taking the sun energy, positive energy. Left palm down, absorbing the earth energy, which is negative. This is your ritual before you walk out of your house to build your power. Because I'm getting ready to give you the other protection, what's the name, before you step out. And then we're going to go through the gaze, what's the name? Yeah.
How much weight does it hold the amount of time that you say it? Because sometimes I feel like that's not enough and to just keep going. Maybe 20, 30 times repeated.
You can, because Omine can be said many a times. And I really want to like to have y'all say it together so you can start feeling the energy. This is really great saying, together. Let me say this because I'm going to keep in time here. She's like, I really have a lot of time, but for some reason it seems like time always get away from me. All right, this is what you're doing every morning. Facing east. Omine, Ladmium, Omine, Ladmium, Omine, Ladmium, Omine, Ladmium, Omine, Ladmium. Already gave you the time, so let me do that. Next one, expand your cosmic energy. Ra, 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 ma, 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 re, ma, already know the time, so I said you just do it 5 times. Here's the one that you said third eye, which made me tell you. This here, you will feel it. As time goes on, you will feel the pressure, and it's awakening your third eye. And I think I told y'all before that the way you'll kind of inadvertently know, you could be just doing something regular, you could be talking to somebody, doing something, all of a sudden going like this. You know how sometimes how it feels when you walk through a spider web? Mm-hmm. Or if an insect do get on you, you feel it crawling, you go like, well, that's what it's going to feel like. Inadvertently, could be just talking with somebody or just doing something. You ain't thinking much of it. You could be doing what you're doing. That all that is you don't realize your third eye, just start wiggling. You'll know. Anyway. Do, Rama, do, Rama, do, Rama, do. All right? This is for your third eye. And the more you do it, this is a ritual that's done every day. It's for some of you who are Reiki masters, who you're doing other spiritual work. You do this before you even do your prayer. If you're doing a ritual, you're trying to get something, especially if you want to be around people, or if you got to do public speaking, whatever, it augments your aura. I'm not done because there's more. Some of you people out there already have this, and I'm trying to speed it up because I want to give you that hypnotic gaze thing again, and the brothers, they needed that. All right. Now, here's the other part of it. Five times. All right. Ram, 5 times. La, 5 times. This is to build your cosmic force. Positive energy, cosmic force. So you're going Rama, Rama, Rama. La is to clean your chakras. So it's la, 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 la. 5 times, all right? Yeah, I know y'all writing them down now, but later on you'll be getting them because it's already lesson forms, like I kept saying to you, and I appreciate y'all being patient. Dr. Nyla is only one person, but y'all be surprised the work that she's doing. Plus, she's trying to provide y'all with the copies and stuff. She can only do so much. But some of it's already in form. But I'm just writing it on a letter, and I'm on the board, and I'm condensing it for you. All right, so anyway, here's the next. 5 times. In. that is to build your heart chakra. When you keep doing that, along with all this, is no excuse for you not to feel any love for your people. So again, that's going to be 5 times, and it's going to be M, 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 and your part that you're focusing on is the heart. All right.
What was the focus for Rama?
That's your cosmic energy. That's just you pulling in that positive energy and what have you. Because next, I'm getting ready to tell you what it's going to do. This one kind of sounds like a weird little sentence, but this expands your aura to him from a foreign head. All right, and that's 5 times. This expands your aura. And here is the last one that it also expands it. And this sounds familiar to you that they had in your history a so-called Indian. Hoi, 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 hoi. And this is 5 times. But you can also say it many times like the brother was saying.
2.
And a lot of our brothers and sisters, many of our brothers back in our, what they call Indian history, used to be around the fire, and they would chant this before they go to war.
The 2, did you say a word between to and from, or no?
Yeah, to him.
See, that's what I'm saying. That's what I thought.
See, I'm trying to write this up, but I guess I'm condensing it, but Doctor has it, and it's already in listening form. So thank you to him. All right. To him from a foreign head. So I apologize. Thank you, because at least y'all see that. So again, like I said, it sounds like a weird sentence, but that is an ancient chant. And again, it's 5 times.
To achieve what?
Just expand your aura. You got a cat. Hey, kitty. I shouldn't have said nothing. You came in.
That orange cat?
Yeah, that also. It's an orange cat. You know what?
Seen it before.
So that is to expand your aura. And this one also expands your aura even more. All right? So again, it's going to be to him from a foreign head, to him from a foreign head, to him from a foreign head, to him from a foreign head. And you do that 5 times. And it's hoi, 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 hoi. Now, if you're blessed, if you got a spot in your house, or if you good go in your backyard or whatever, and you doing this to the sun and having that raw gleaming on you at the time, you really will feel the power. You feel the energy. But these are the secrets that I gave you before, where I said that you will build your energy. Now, here's what I got to give you: the power. We call the Hittian star. So I got to write this out. I'm going to give you the instructions real quick. This is what I wanted to be here a little early so I could be able to write on the board. And then y'all can copy it. And, I don't think I'm going to copy this whole lot because this whole thing is. I'll do this. I got to give you the diagram. All right. Now that I gave you the power chance, remember I said you're doing that every morning before you walk out your house. You can do that as your ritual, when you're going to do something, prayer, whatever, but you always do that to build your aura before you walk out of the house. But here's the other part, we call the Hittian star, the Magi star, which is your form of protection. I'm breaking it down for you so you can understand, and I want you to watch it. And I want you to do it on the board as an example, but I'll do it outward. Remember I told you earlier when I said we do this as Hittian and the Christians got this? Well, this is really where the Christians got this. This Hittian star ritual is this. Remember I said sound changes things. 2 fingers. You're going to be touching these areas of the body when it's executed. So I'm going to do it for you so you can see. And here's the verse that is basically said. And I want to write it on the board, so y'all might follow me, but I am now completely protected against all negative forces, all negative persons, all negative events, circumstances, situations, and occurrences. I am also protected against any satanic attacks, evil eyes, witchcraft, sorcery, hexes, jinxes, curses, spells, voodoo, booby, etc. And I assert my power, my reality, my dominion, and my authority, for I am the child of the Creator. This I demand, this I command, this I decree, for as I will it, so will it be. This is the ritual I do every time if I walk out the house. This is your form of protecting you or building that strong aura. You understand what I'm saying? So now I gotta...
Can you repeat it?
Yeah, I am. This is what I was trying to do when I get earlier. I was going to write the little paragraph here, but I don't feel like writing, so I'll say it slowly if y'all can follow. This I'm going to do the exercise again, so you're going to make your little diagram, but first I'm going to give you the word, your prayer. It's, I am now completely protected from all negative forces. I'm going to repeat it 3 times. Don't worry. All negative persons, all negative events, circumstances, and situations. I am also protected against any satanic attacks, evil eyes, sorcery, witchcraft, hexes, jinxes, curses, spells, voodoo, hoodoo, and a very ancient negative is called booby. So I know y'all probably wonder why he said booby. And you'll say etc. And I assert my power, reality, dominion, and authority, for I am the child of the Creator. And you always want to end your prayers by saying, this I demand, this I command, and this I decree, for as I will it, so will it be. I'm going to repeat it again. I do humbly apologize, and I do thank y'all for being patient in writing this, but this is going to be in print. But this is something that's usually passed on, it's not written, so. Again, this is your Hittian star, your Magi star that we use as protection. So again, it starts off, I am now completely protected against all negative forces, all negative persons, all negative events, circumstances, and situations. I am also protected against any satanic attacks, evil eyes, sorcery, witchcraft, hexes, jinxes, curses, spells, voodoo, hoodoo, booby, etc. And I assert my power, my reality, my dominion, and my authority, for I am a child of the Creator. This I demand, this I command, this I decree, for as I will it, so will it be. It's the 3rd time, so make sure I filled in. So again, say, I am now completely protected against all negative forces, all negative persons, all negative events, all negative circumstances and situations. I am also protected against any satanic attacks, evil eyes, sorcery, hexes, jinxes, curses, spells, voodoo, hoodoo, booby, etc. And I assert my power, reality, and dominion, and authority, for I am the child of the Creator. This I demand, this I command, this I decree, for as I will it, so will it be. Now the last part that I gave you, that's going to be your formula that you're going to use every time you close any prayer out. Because remember, you are the power. You are the might. So you're going to say, this I demand, this I command, this I decree, for as I will it, so mote it be. I just also told you what is practice in Freemasonry ritual. So now, I want to do it again for you, the whole thing. It starts off the points that I gave you, so if you made your diagram, so you already know the key places. It's basically the head. Right, so you know you're touching the third eye, in the private area. You're sweeping up to your left shoulder, middle of the chest, and then your right. So generally, this is what you're doing. Alright, so make your little diagram so you know how to say it, so you can have follow. You start with that first. You're going E-O, A-V-O, I-E. I'm going to write it so you can see. And then you say the verse that you copy. Alright, so because these are sounds, these are energies that you're invoking. The head, you're saying the E, private area, the O, left shoulder, ah, and you're coming to the mid part of your chest. Vo. And then you're ending on your right shoulder. I, E. All right. And that's how you start it. Again, you're starting, you're hitting your star, the Magi star, to invoke that protective energy around you. The way you start the ritual, I am now completely protected against all negative forces, all negative persons, all negative circumstances, situations, and occurrences. I am also protected against any satanic attacks, evil eyes, sorcery, hexes, jinxes, curses, spells, voodoo, hoodoo, santeria, dongo, booby, etc. Any, just like saying etc, I didn't name all that. And you say, I am now assert my power. That's very important. You assert your power, your reality, your dominion, and your authority. For I am the child of the Creator. This I demand, this I command, this I decree, for as I will it, so blessed be. Hello.
Who came after hoodoo?
Yeah, voodoo, hoodoo, booby. But you can say etc. You want to say all the other ones that you think of, but
Voodoo.
Yeah, voodoo, hoodoo, booby, B-O-O-B-I-E. That's an ancient black art that's almost gotten forgotten. All right, they definitely focus on negativity. Now, the brother had brought up something I gave y'all real quick, and I was asking y'all the training of the hypnotic gaze. And I have the verse for y'all to read to you again. And I really strongly urge you to go get this training, get this under your belt, because this is for the betterment. You never know.
Before you go there, but quick question with regard to the booby thing. I know I'm not the only one who has a child nicknamed Booby. So, are we evoking something negative? Is when we? No, I mean, I'm serious because.
Yeah, this is
Word
old.
track.
It was just an old name for the dark arts. That's long forgotten. So, yeah, I know some friends and they have that, so it's nothing to be concerned. But that's not something because, like I said, y'all only know about it because it's only as Hittians that knew about it for me to even mention it to you. But it's long lost. So this was way before what you call Satanism. But so. But that's what I say.
Well, when you know better, you do better.
Yeah.
So, okay. Thank you.
I ain't even alarmed than that, but all right. Remember I told y'all about the hypnotic gaze, and I know again some of you are some new brothers here. Now, you said I want to give you the verse again, so I'm going to read it again. You can write this. The training takes a month. And what you're going to do for the first week, you're going to wind up staring in your own eyes for 5 minutes straight without blinking. But I'm giving you the verse so y'all can have this. Some of the brothers had it before. He said he wanted the rest of us is good. So now y'all benefiting from it. This is what you're going to be learn. You're going to learn it before you do the training because you're going to need a mirror. You're going to need a marker or something to mark a little dot on the third eye area because you're going to need to stare at it. And this is the verse that you're going to have to, or the little paragraph you're going to have to memorize. The power of my mind and will are tremendously strong. My willpower is I'm going to just say it, then we'll repeat it again. My willpower is overwhelming to everybody. Nobody can resist me. Nobody will ever attempt to do bad against me or around me. Because I can instantly mesmerize, instantly charm, and hypnotize everybody. So now I'm going to do that again.
Yeah.
The power of my mind and will are tremendously strong. My willpower is overwhelming to everybody. No one can resist me. Nobody will ever attempt to do bad against me or around me. Because I can instantly mesmerize and I can instantly charm and instantly hypnotize everybody. I'm going to repeat it again. The power of my mind and will are tremendously strong. My willpower is overwhelming to everybody. Nobody can resist me. Nobody will ever attempt to do bad against me or around me. Because I can instantly mesmerize. I can instantly charm. I can instantly hypnotize everybody. Once you have that, this is the training. You're going to need a mirror. You're going to need a timer. Or basically use your watch if you can. So your mirror, you'll need probably get a girlfriend, get one of her eyeliner or something. Because you're going to need to make a little dot. So let's say line. You need a timepiece. All right. So for the first week, you're going to take time out. This is a whole month training. You want to make a little dot, which is going to be the area when you're looking at yourself in the mirror. This is your focal point you're going to be looking at. You're going to focus your eyes on. The key thing is this, the verse that I just gave you, you're going to repeat it over and over. You can't blink your eyes. You blink your eyes, you got to start all over. So for the first week, every day, you want to do it for 5 minutes straight, not blinking your eyes. The second week, once you complete it, Then you're going to do it for 10 minutes straight without blinking your eyes. And I say this to you, don't worry. Your eyes will smart, meaning they will tear. The key thing is to keep staring and keep repeating the verse. So you may just have your little tissue there, and you may see it. The key thing is to stay focused on that dot and repeat it over and 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 over. Now, if you don't have a timer, the best thing I did was when you're looking at the mirror, put the watch, go get the timepiece. And if you can do it, that you can see in your peripheral when your time is up. So you don't have to, because once you take your eyes off, that's the same thing as you blinking. You got to start all over. But if you got a timer, right, so if you got an egg timer, that'd be good, you know what I mean? So, and then now in the third week, 15. By the time you get to the fourth, you should be 20 minutes straight. Now y'all think that, and I let it out the first time I brought this out, that's nothing. I did it for an hour. I usually don't tell it, but so I'm letting you know it can be done. Right, that's nothing. So now I just planted y'all the seeds. It's nothing. You will accomplish it. Once you do this and you complete it, you feel like a whole new man, a whole new woman. And one thing I had told you, you won't have a dog stare you in the eyes. He won't look in your eye. And when you look in somebody's eye, and you talking to them, you can put your thoughts. I'm going to teach you how to project. You get less likely for them to lie. You can also influence a person. That hypnotic gaze that I just gave you is what master magicians use in their shows. Remember, they got to be great at what they do. I just gave you their ultimate secret training that you cue public, or you the John Bays, whatever. You know what I mean? You got it now. Key thing is what you're going to do with it. So now I got to wait another month before I ask anybody, did you closer, finish your training when you did? I'm giving you stuff that's worth tens of thousands of dollars. But others is using your signs. I'm telling you, use it. Take back what is yours. Once you do this, you feel like a new man or a new woman, and you're going to feel proud. It's almost the day that y'all got your pheasants. You know how you felt, you know what I mean? You felt, or, that new power that you know who you were, you know what I mean? Same thing, you got your diploma, you got your driver's license. Almost kind of like that. You just got this little power upon you, you know what I mean? Don't go out the way where you wind up utilizing it, if any of you are single and you're using it on the women, and you're charming the women.
Question.
Yeah.
Just the last part of that, where it says, because I can instantly hypnotize, and then...
Yeah, it hypnotize everybody.
Everybody?
Yeah, that's the ending part. All right. So, that's good. That's really good. What I want to also say this real quick. I want to do this because Dr. Nyla and I talked about, because I said I want to do this when we start focusing on each other and wanting to bless each other, especially those who have a sick person in their family, or we want to prosper in ourselves. I want to see if I can get y'all just to cooperate real quick. We don't have to change our seats or whatever, because we're going to do that next time. But I want to put you all in a synchronistic type of mode where I'm heightening your third eye and your senses, put you in a synchronistic vibe, and then we all focus. If you got somebody that's sick in your family, or if you're good and you want to be prosperous, or you want to open your abilities, this will be the state of mind that would be great. So if you can, why don't you sit right in your chair and just focus on me. Just sit down, feet flat, hands on your laps, if you will. And I'd like for you all to take, and just be comfortable, and take 3 deep, good breaths. We're going to take, just good breath. And this is the same I would like for you out there. Because one thing you will understand, once you start getting into the science of the mind, doesn't matter where you at. Mind stuff and energy is universal. So I want you to all close your eyes real quick and just focus on my voice. I just want to put you all into a synchronized state. It's not hypnosis. It's just a relaxed state, but a synchronized state. Don't worry about the sounds. If you hear anything else besides my voice, don't worry. What that's going to do is just going to deepen the synchronistic state. Now taking a deep breath, in and out. That's it. In and out. Another one. In out. Good. Now I want you to put in your mind, if you have a family member who is ill, or if you're good and you just want to be yourself, you want to change yourself, draw your willpower, see yourself the way you want to see yourself. Whether it's your good health, or see yourself in a new job, or see yourself being wealthy, happy, jubilant. See yourself the way you want your body. Now, if you're focusing on a family member who is sick, see that family member or a friend that you love. See them healed. See them the way they need to see themselves. See it very clear. Now, at the same time, in your heart, feel that feeling of love. You know how it feels. It feels so joyful to the point you're almost smiling. You're going to find out the love energy is very potent and is the great element to anything that you call prayer or magic. Add it to it. Feel that joy. I should be seeing slight smiles on your face, because what it does, it adds power to that vision, that thought. Remember I said the main message in the Holy Quran, the Creator is telling you, you have the power I have. Your thought power is very powerful. It says that you're saying that when you're wearing your fezzes and turbans. You're saying that with your name, Hannibal Bey. You are the I am. You are the I am. See yourself. See that energy, that light that is within you shining out. That if you're focusing on yourself, you see yourself with a little glow. And it's making you more happy. Because here's the thing. When you slid into your subconscious mind, and guess what the subconscious mind does? It can't do nothing but manifest what you put in it. It doesn't know about belief or what have you. All it knows is what you have given it, and it will work and manifest it. Another deep breath in and out. Another deep breath in and out. Another deep breath in and out. Hold that thought. Believe deep within yourself. If you're focusing on yourself, you see yourself. Even if you're believing and seeing yourself with your abilities, your mind will make it real. This is the matrix. I am taking you into the construct. You're now developing the binary code so you can change things. If you're focusing on a loved one who is sick, you're changing their binary code and you're seeing them in a healthy state. Now you're projecting it, and when you see that, you're sending it to the universe, and their subconscious mind is picking it up right now. appreciate you brothers and sisters participating in that. Dr. Niley and I spoke about it earlier because we were talking about the mind and the healing, and we were talking about we wanted to, continue doing the demo and what have you, and doing this work of us linking together because it will benefit. Because I had said to you all before, whereas you have your reverends and your imams, they're using the science. This is why these individuals are millionaires. And what you don't know is when you come together as a collective, there is power in this room. And if I can get you to focus on one thing, this is talking about the Hex Alpha. I, then being the ringmaster, can use that energy and to direct it to where I'm going. And a lot of times those individuals are selfish. And this is why the parishioners will witness, yes, God and all this, but noticing their leader's the only one benefiting, flying around in an $80 million jet and riding around with Bentleys and $1,000 Italian suits and all, but they're supposed to be men of God. As opposed to those same millions, they could be helping their regular parishioners, let alone the people in the community like they're supposed to. So all I'm doing is breaking it down to you and helping you utilize it. So now you not only had your own focus, but guess what you just did? You were in link with others in this room, and even those who are out there come together as a whole. So you had a little extra oomph to your vision. Now, this is what your focus needs to be. I have given you wars, the certain time frames to, see, this is something else y'all want to have. I can't show too much of this stuff, but you'll have direct copies of this, and I'm ordering it down, but this is literature that's costs a lot of money, and it's hidden, but y'all going to have it. Remember the other classes, I gave you the particular time frames to do your prayer. You didn't, so I'm repeating it for the simple fact, you, brother, you hear. Remember I told you there are key times to do prayers. I think the sister may have, there was a yellow book. I know I gave you a yellow book, and she was copying some things for y'all. You gotta have it also here. So I'm gonna give it to y'all again. So you will know. Here it is. Individuals like myself, who are grand priests, voodoo high priests, powerful sorcerers, witches, and wizards, know that the optimal times of influencing individuals or certain circumstances, here are the time frame. 6 a.m. to 10 a.m. And here's the real best times, 4 p.m. to 8 p.m. And then at 8 p.m. to 10 p.m. And here is what you hear individuals that would always talk about witchcraft and Satanry and all that other stuff, and they say, oh, it's the witch's hour, 12 a.m. to 3 a.m. Now I'm going to give you a little understanding about that. See, because that's usually the time that a person you want to influence is resting, which you call sleep. That is the time that you can then go into the different dimension where all minds meet, and you can pierce the different barriers and wind up influencing that person. All right? So, those are the times that what you can do to influence individuals. Also, there's times, those are the times that you can use when you're trying to link up with the universal mind to augment your power in spells and prayers. I know there's a little bit more I wanted to go over, so we might have to make this a part 3. And it's all good because that's all the classes are going to be anyway. I did go to this. That's good that y'all have that. Here's a quick demo I want to do to show you the influence. I want you all to put your apparatuses and everything down. And I want you to listen to me This is, sit in your chair, if you don't mind, feet flat and everything. I want y'all here, you want to close your eyes, I'm going to do a demo. And this is going to demonstrate to you influence, all right? Close your eyes. Now, what I want you to do is hold both hands out in front of you. Well, you can open your eyes so you can see what I'm saying. You want to hold them out like that, all right? So, now, your left hand with the wrist downward, all right? And your right hand is going to be with the palm up. Now close your eyes, and I want you to hear me, and I want y'all to focus on my voice. Keep your hands basically leveled, right? Now, in your left arm, around your wrist, you have a white cord with a big, bright red balloon that's full of helium. And you know what helium balloons generally do? They go upward. So now, that left wrist being tied to that cord around that big balloon that's above your head, and it's just rising. It's going up and up and up because that red balloon is full of helium, and it's just going up and up, and your left wrist is feeling lighter and lighter and lighter and lighter. And it's just getting lighter and lighter because it's going almost with the red balloon. Focus on my voice. Focus on my voice. This is your moment of focusing and listening. And it's getting lighter and lighter. Now in your right hand, you have a black bowling ball that's about 25 pounds. And you notice, you could hold it, but after a while, it gets fatigued. And in that right hand, that 25-pound bowling ball starts to get heavier and heavier, and your right hand starts to feel like it's going downward, because it's getting a little heavy. You know you're strong, but after a while, it's fatigue. Meanwhile, your left hand, the wrist is going up, lighter and lighter because of the red balloon. Focus on my voice, listening to my voice. Remember, the key thing is to focus. The red balloon is going up. It's making your left wrist, your hand, or arm feeling lighter. This should be going up, while at the same time your right hand is being heavier and heavier and heavier because the bowling ball is 25 pounds. After a while, it starts to go down. It starts to go down. Now, stop. Open your eyes. Some of you, I know you were twitching and what have you. If you look at where your hands are, it show you where you're focusing. They're at the same spot. You weren't paying attention. You weren't focusing. If they were moving, then that means you were focusing. But nonetheless, you all were still affected. You can let your arms down. Now, I wanted y'all to see this because for the simple fact, remember I keep telling you about hypnosis, so I just gave you a little technique there. Remember I said the key thing in influencing somebody in wake state is to cause confusion. The key thing is to have the body focusing on one thing while you're studying your suggestion. So part of that confusion technique, if you will, one arm
It's not natural position.
it's not so much that. One arm had the idea of something heavy in it. If you were focusing, the one arm should have been down, the other one should have been up. You understand what I'm saying? So I wanted you to see that, but as time goes on, I want to help you be sharper. So the more you can focus, know this. When I give you the science of Magi that they call hypnosis, never fall for what people say, oh, I can't be hypnotized. When you understand this science, first thing you should tell them then, well, the only people that can't be hypnotized is, I know they say PC, but you can tell them only people that are retarded, and sometimes they can children. Reason why? Because they can't have a steady thought. But you can even hypnotize children. You can, but that'll be a subject another time. So know this. People who are hypnotized, the more intelligent you are, the more you can be influenced. Again, I'm condensing this to you, but you will be getting literature from us and you'll be seeing it in your hands. And so some of these notes can then be transferred to the lessons and stuff that we have. I know Dr. Nala will probably be having this end because I know you're going to be going off of live stream soon. I'd like to thank you, brothers, and for coming in, sitting down and powwowing and getting the science. And I'd definitely like to thank my brothers and sisters Ezekiel out there in Washington, my cherubs in Cali, down south, my son, Prince Emmanuel, my daughter, Princess Kendra, my daughters, Princess Sharita Princess Jeanette, a cherub, Raphael Bey, and all you good Moors out there in Canaan land and over in Japan. My baby, Kasumi Sama, my cherub from Japan. Y'all want to meet her when she come back over the state.
She's Fox Blackwood on here.
Oh, she's on it. Y'all right. Our baby, 'cause her and I, we usually talk. I text her when I'm off, or sometimes we'll FaceTime. Give your hugs to your little baby cherubs and your husband. Give my greetings. I'd like to thank Dr. Nyla L. so much. Y'all just don't know the work that she does. She feels bad because she couldn't feed y'all, but she just doesn't know. I want y'all to always tell her and give her love for her giving y'all access to us. Of course, y'all have access to my father, and it was because of y'all that made me come out to give y'all this, because the cycle was tight. I was really trying to get this to my brothers in the lodge and other places nobody didn't want it. And we had it at round table. People looked like they were actually trying to do me a favor. So I had no problem. Because like I said, I don't love to hear myself talk. If I'm going to say something, I'm going to talk and say what I got to say. Keep it moving. And it got to the point, I only wanted an elite number of brothers and sisters anyway that really want this. Because like they say, many are called, but few are chosen. So in the work that I have to do is kind of, I guess, what y'all can equate on an adult chamber level. So you not only need the George Cruz aspect, but we want to be the Moors that when the prophet was on the scene, I heard stories of when we used to have parades, and it was raining, and the Moors was like, oh, we're not going to have this parade. Prophet said, we're going to have this parade. When the Quran did his ritual, because we do have rituals where you influence the weather, and it became sunny, the rain went away, and they had their daggone parade. We need to get back to that level. This is why I tell you the story of Brother Divine. When I told you he was incarcerated, remember he was a student of Drew Ali, and he wound up, they trying to railroad him in their kangaroo court. He told the magistrate, you're going to die. You're going to die, right? He threw him in jail. Guess what? The daggone magistrate died, and he released Divine. He was working the science he learned from Drew Ali. So these are some of the things I want to give y'all, brothers. And again, I like to say peace and blessings, and I got to turn it over to the sister. Before I do, is it possible? I just want to take a moment to close with the Quran prayer. Like I said, I wanted to do it because I give sermons, not just classes. And this was our practice at Round Table, chapter 25, the Holy Covenant of the Asiatic Nation. Ye are the children of one father, provided for by his care, and the breast of one mother has given you suck. Let the bonds of affection therefore unite thee and thy brothers with thy brothers, that peace and happiness may dwell in thy father's house. And when ye separate into the world, remember the relation that bindeth you to love and unity, and prefer not a stranger before thy own blood. If thy brother is in adversity, assist him. If thy sister is in trouble, forsake her not. For so shall the fortunes of thy father contribute to the support of his whole race, and his care be continued to you all in your love to each other. Peace.
Peace.
Thank you, brother.
We'd like to thank you all for coming out, and to remind you that Father Hannibal will return on Saturday, May 19th at 6 p.m. And again, we also thank you to the most attentive Facebook audience. They have really, really been getting into it. I've seen so many wonderful comments. You've got to read them. That this is one of the best classes they've had, and so forth and so on. So I also wanted to add that I will probably likely be adding, I won't be doing it every week, but I will be doing maybe a Thursday Reiki session and meditation. And if anyone is interested in coming to, we used to do that every Thursday, but now that it's staying light longer, it's kind of hard to get people in a meditative state sometimes, but I'm going to bring it back. And it'll be meditation and Reiki here at the House of Reawakening Minds at least once a month. Thank you, and good night.